Three, two, one.
Gravity Falls is the best Western cartoon to come out this decade, featuring wonderful writing, morals, visuals, and a story and cast that touched our hearts. Seriously though, is Mabel just gonna get away with all that shit? Hi, welcome to Campy Cast. I'm Brian, and today is the final part of our
Yeah, our
three-episode
epic.
Disney Channel series.
There might be an extra
The end of
fourth
Evangelion.
part, but
Wait, really?
yeah, DuckTales. You suggested that,
Oh yeah.
so maybe.
Oh
But
well.
that might come
All right,
out
well,
at
you
a
be-
different date, though. But
Okay. Well, you
Yeah.
better get on that sometime.
probably
But yeah, no, this is the main three.
main story-driven ones. In fact, we're going back to where it all started because let's be honest.
Yeah,
I
we've
don't
kind of
think-
done this in reverse. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've been
Sort
like,
of, yeah. Because I don't think
Yeah, no.
either of these shows would have been as popular if it wasn't for Gravity Falls, which is one of
well,
the
that's
most-
kind of an oxymoron statement that wouldn't exist without Gravity Falls. So
Yeah, true. It's
like-
like a
like
whole
we mentioned,
thing. It wouldn't be
you know,
as
Dana
popular,
Terrace
and it wouldn't even
and-
be as made without Gravity Falls. So it's a really
well,
important
it
show in a lot
they
of
wouldn't
ways.
exist without Gravity Falls point blank.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about in both of those episodes. Matt Braley and Dana Terrace were both storyboard artists on Gravity Falls. I know Matt Braley was a storyboard artist. I think Dana Terrace must have done some other department, but they both came from this show. Many
Yeah.
call it the best of the three. It's not my favorite, but it is the best out of the three. I'll say. But you agree with that? Or-
Yeah. Yeah, it's I definitely think it's the best out of the three. And those shows wouldn't even be made if it wasn't for this one. And it's
Yeah,
nice to see
I
that there's
said that.
definitely like you said, and there's definitely vibes that like shine in this in like those other shows that come from this show, but like in a good way. at
Well, yeah.
times. Sometimes.
Well, no, some of them just directly, not inspiration, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you
I
can see some.
understand.
Amphibia literally has a Gravity Falls
Yeah,
episode.
but actually,
which we
which is one of
talked
their
about.
better ones, if I'm being honest. One of the best
Yeah.
episodes.
It's even you who hate the show loves the Gravity Falls episode.
I don't
So-
hate it. Jeez.
Well,
I gave
yeah,
it a
I'm,
good
I'm
four.
joking. Shut up. Well,
Anyways, this is my
what's
my
that?
favorite of the. This is my personal favorite of three.
yeah, that's fair.
They're all.
I still like Amphibia
nice.
more, but we talked about that before. You know, the main thing is really Gravity Falls is inherently gonna be the best because it's the shortest, so it has
Oh, yeah,
the
it is
least
the
amount of
shortest,
chances.
yeah.
It has the least amount of chances to fuck up, so that's like
Yeah.
the main thing.
And that's like a good thing, This might not be as long as the other ones either, because I have definitely passionate feelings about this show, but it's also shorter than the other two, which have 3 seasons.
Yeah,
So
we only got 2 here, and
two
there's
40 episodes.
40 episodes in
Yeah.
total here.
And
Uh,
already excited to do this one. Especially talking about the show. I haven't really gotten into a deep discussion about it in like a while. I've seen it
Yeah.
I've watched the full show like a couple times. I didn't watch it while it was like airing, which really wish I was.
Oh no, I wish I wasn't. Have you seen those fucking air date gaps? That sounds like hell.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Wouldn't
But it
wanna
would have
be
been
there.
cool. It would have been like cool
No,
and
but, like,
suspenseful at the
It
same
wouldn't
time.
it
despite
would be
that.
cool in some way. Because all the fucking like lore shit people were discovering as episodes comes out. That sounds really fun. Except
Exactly,
the whole
that's
thing
why-
had like
Yeah,
their
obviously
airtime.
the waiting gaps would be an issue, but I still think it would have
Yeah.
been cool to do.
I'll get
it.
into some of those more later because that's like Jesus Christ. But
Yeah, well,
That's
there were
for
pretty
later.
big gaps, but I think
Yeah.
they were worth it in the end.
I've seen this show I believe twice in full now. I caught episodes randomly on TV without context previously.
Yeah, I think
My
I
first
did
time
as
was
well.
Yeah.
think
But
I
my first time was you can say after. I remember it was last summer because I was like, I was right off Amphibia. I was like, wow, I'm on that high. What now? What's my next show? So I was like, Gravity Falls is the other big Disney show. So I guess I'll do that one next. And then I loved it famously. I went through all that. The other ones, as we have talked about previously. But yeah, I think out of all these, like I said, Gravity Falls. Well, I kind of like Phineas and Ferb more, but that's like a different kind of Disney Channel show.
That's
not
its own thing, but that's also a great
yeah.
show.
But out of the ones that have story driven stuff, I'd say this is like the
Yeah,
one that
it,
holds
it
up the
definitely
best.
had an impact on
But
so many people, and there's so much I
yeah,
respect about it.
yeah,
In terms of history, it was definitely felt like it was made by, Alex Hirsch's own summer memories, and I think you
yeah.
can
No, he's
definitely
talked
see
about
that
that
reflected in
before.
the show. So
Yeah,
that's a part of why I like it. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
It has a
so
very nostalgic vibe, even though I'm not like nostalgic
yeah,
for it
same. I
myself.
wish I
But
watched it early. I mean, I didn't just watch it this year. I said actually watched the full thing like 2 years ago. But
uh,
yeah, I kind of wish I watched
I
it even
rewatched the
earlier.
whole thing to prepare for this podcast because it's like, it's short. I can knock this out in a couple days,
I've seen this
and I
like
did.
entirety multiple times, but
Uh,
yeah, there are definitely
I
some
might
cool
make it a summer
details I've
tradition
noticed.
after this, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe
Yeah,
next
maybe,
summer I'll
maybe
rewatch.
too. Maybe I will too. I
Maybe
mean, it's definitely a
maybe the
good.
Gulf War will be watched a third time by me. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
Anyway, this show is
yeah,
great. And I guess we could get into it. Not much news, I
yeah. Do we
guess.
have any news this week?
No,
I
I
don't
mean
think
this is a
so.
very short gap from the last episode in
Oh
terms of
yeah, I just
recording.
realized we have.
Uh, the whole thing, but
Actually, wait, no, I do have one piece of news. Our Oppenheimer and Barbie come out tomorrow. Fuck you if you support Barbenheimer. That's
okay,
all.
that's a bit
Uh,
harsh.
I'm harsh, but I'm right.
Jeez,
Anyway, into Gravity Falls. All right,
what is it?
let's get
Okay,
started.
sure.
All right, so Gravity Falls, season one, we're going in. Just a simple premise. Two siblings, Dipper and Mabel, go to the town of Gravity Falls to spend the
Yeah,
summer with
the
their
mystery shack run
yeah,
by
with their very
Their
shady
Uncle Stan, who
yeah,
is
uh,
hilarious. Probably, probably one of the
yeah,
just I don't know. There's so many iconic moments of him that I just can't wait to talk about.
yeah. And then
um,
they spend the summer with him, but then our boy Dipper over here is like, ooh, he finds this book
a
called
journal with
Journal
the
3.
number three
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah. And then he's like, he looks in this book, right, and he's like, holy fuck, there's a lot of stuff in this
A lot of
book. It's
lore.
helpful. Then they find a bunch of supernatural stuff. And they get into the plot stuff kind of like later in the season, but a lot of season one follows a similar formula of a Dipper and or Mabel and or another character accidentally stumble across a supernatural element, and then the things get out of hand. Usually, something from the journal or like their own experiences
Yeah,
helps them solve the issue, and then they go on their merry way. We rinse and repeat for a couple episodes.
yeah.
It's a great formula, though. I'm a fan of it, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I really, this is a great season, honestly. Great
Yeah.
batch of episodes here. I think
Yeah,
it's,
out of the three shows that we've talked about, I think this has the best like opening out of the gate.
yeah, best
Like
season
most,
one.
yeah, DuckTales season one's better, but we're not
Owl
talking
House
about
season
that.
one was meh. I know you love Amphibious season one, but
Yeah,
I
it's a
wasn't the
great
biggest
first
fan
season.
of that. I
I don't know
think
what
this
you're
is a
talking
better
about.
first season for me.
Hmm. No, I'd agree, but Amphibia is still great too.
I'd say,
Yeah,
yeah, I'd say like I think what makes me like it more is not only do I like it the characters a whole lot better, which I'll definitely get to in a bit.
no,
Um, but I
yeah.
also just there's also less episodes that are dependent on a repetitive formula. And there's always something
Well,
that creative or interesting that separates them for me and gets me interested. That's kind of
well,
why
see,
I
that's
like
kind of
foreign
I don't know.
areas.
Well, it's kind of an unfair comparison since Gravity Falls
Yeah,
has
I
less
know, I
episodes to
know.
be repetitive in. But no, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I know.
If
It
I have to
has
give the show an
less
immediate compliment,
episodes.
yeah. If I have to give the show an immediate compliment, there's no contest. This is the funniest out of
Oh
all of
yeah,
them. Like,
hilarious. Generally,
like,
it is so
yeah,
funny. I laughed. Everyone knows how funny
yeah,
this show is. Like I'm still quoting
um,
it today. It's like
yeah,
even like just rewatching a lot of these episodes, I just like
yeah.
always have a good laugh. There's
Oh
like
yeah,
a
definitely. It's like another base thing. I just laugh at a lot of it. Especially Seuss. I
yeah,
love
Seuss
Seuss.
is a
Seuss is the best.
Chad, the goat,
Yeah,
if you will.
yeah.
He's a
Well, there
fun
is a
character,
goat, but
fun little mechanic at the mystery shack. A lot of good stuff with him,
mhm.
a lot of good. The characters have good dynamics here. I like Mabel
Yeah,
and Dipper's dynamic a lot. I think they have a simple but
yeah.
realistic brother and sister dynamic. You know, it's
Yeah, yeah,
I think it works off really well.
and also, yeah, and also people like hate Mabel, and I don't know if you've heard about this. Now, some people
I've
hate
heard
Mabel,
some
and
criticisms with her character, but I don't know. I didn't
uh,
know people full on hated her.
no, I know. No, some people hate her because they think she's like
annoying
selfish,
or
and she
something.
always makes Dipper sacrifice shit for her when Dipper like always and Mabel doesn't return the favor. This is like a common criticism I
Really?
see. We'll get into it more with season 2 because
Yeah.
people like I've seen some people really not like Weird Mageddon 2 for that reason. But that's a whole other
Mm.
point. I think personally it works like fine because I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know. She's a stupid child. It's fine.
Yeah.
I get it for
While
like a
Dipper's
bit.
not the most
And
mature kid of all time, I'd say he's a little more mature. I guess like I'd say like Mabel is just more true
yeah,
to her age in areas, and sure Dipper isn't the
yeah.
most
Well, that's
mature
Dipper's
kid
whole
out
thing.
there,
Dipper's
but
like spends the whole show rushing to grow up, while
yeah,
Maple's doing
yeah,
the
that's a
opposite.
part
It's
of
like a
their growth,
contrast
which
thing.
is
But
concluded well in season 2. But as for this season, I
mhm,
think it does a good job at establishing everything well, and I think it's really well
yeah.
paced. The show is really well paced. I
Oh, the
think,
show's great pacing. Yeah, like it's never rushing plot at you, but you never feel like things are meandering. Things just always are
exactly.
moving along well. Yeah,
It always feels like there's a purpose for everything, and it all culminates
yeah,
in the conclusion of the series, which yeah, and it's like
yeah.
everything is just really well built up here as we get to explore this world and explore the characters in a very natural and
Oh, definitely.
well done way. Like it's nice. I like the character dynamics a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's like another thing. This show has I just like immediately I just like all the characters. I find Dipper very endearing as a protagonist. How he's like
Yeah,
constantly on about like nerd shit. It's charming. I like, and then like you said, he works off Mabel well. You have Grunkle Stan and Seuss who are already both of them are really funny. So it
they're probably
endears
some
you
of
to
the funniest characters in the
yeah.
show, and they're
Then they
both
like
voiced by Alex Hirsch as well.
oh yeah. Alex Hirsch voice is like I want to say 20 at least
He
25%
voices a lot of
of the
characters. I
cast.
think he voices one of
Yeah,
the gnomes as well from the first
yeah.
episode. If we could talk about
He
that
voices
one.
Schmebulok, I think. Uh,
Rebiolok. Yeah. I like the
yeah.
first episode a lot. I think it's actually a
Well, the first
really good
episode's great.
pilot.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's great. I
I
think
love
it's
the
a really.
stupid subversion. You're like, oh no, there's a zombie, but
And
no,
then it
it's a
turns out it's
bunch
a
of
group of
gnomes.
gnomes, which is brilliantly foreshadowed in a
Yeah,
Joe
because he flips
scene
to the
with the.
gnome
Yeah,
page,
I
and you
love
think that's a
that little
joke. But
detail.
then,
It's so funny. At
it's
least
such a good way to
yeah,
foreshadow it.
I
It's really
know.
good.
There's a lot of good stuff like that with foreshadowing, and
Yeah,
it's like, and that part always like made me laugh. It's one of the. It's a great way to kick
yeah,
off the pilot. We even get Dipper to get
yeah.
his iconic hat that he has for the rest of the
Yeah.
show. It's a
And
nice
Mabel's
way to start.
grappling hook. Well,
It's
don't forget
her
about the
grappling
grappling
hook.
hook.
Yeah, there's some good
Yeah,
payoff near the end of the season. So
yeah,
like, yeah, it all
yeah.
works well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of good episodes here. I guess we
There's
could
I have
just
a couple that are like I think we just talk about like
I
individual
think
episodes because not
every
a lot of
episode in
them.
this season is good. There's some that I care
Yeah,
for less than others, but I think
yeah.
every episode is solid
None of
in its
them
own
I
way.
dislike.
Yeah,
Ironically enough, even though season 2 is better, it has the 2 episodes I don't like. But we'll get to
yeah,
those when I get to them.
mhm,
But, I think very consistently there's a very like for most of my ratings on episodes are like around eights with like a few nines and a few sevens. It's a little higher, a little lower. But most of it just very consistently like fun. A lot
yeah.
of my favorites are just the ones that like play with like the concepts in unique ways. Like one of my favorites is a Double Dipper is one of like the clone one
Oh yeah,
where
that's one of the
yeah
best
no.
ones. Yeah, I really like that one. I
Oh,
think
that
it's
one's
like a
really funny.
really
Like
good
the
cloning episode. I think it's actually like really funny what they do with pointing out with the cliche of clones turning on each other. But I think in this case, instead of being annoyingly smug about it, it actually leads to a very funny resolution.
oh, it's fun the way everything like piles in on each
Yeah,
other.
I like it.
Good.
And I like that the
Yeah,
realization that all Dipper needed to do was talk to Wendy, who is his crush for the season. We Sims for
yeah,
deadly at times, but it's
it's
done in
fun.
funny
They
ways,
do
I
it more
guess.
naturally than other shows would do it. They
Yeah,
handle it well.
I'd
Yeah,
say that. There's a
yeah.
lot of good concepts that I think are really well executed. I guess we could just talk about some of our favorite episodes, since I feel like
Yeah.
that's the best way to describe the
Yeah.
overall what we like about the season by going through the
Okay.
episodes that we liked.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now that you mentioned Wendy back there, one of my favorites is at the convenience store one and
Yeah,
the inconveniencing.
that
Like,
one's
well,
good.
that one's really funny. I love the stupid plot of like they go to the convenience store, but then the twist is that they're fucking elderly ghosts who are
Yeah,
like mad at teenagers for coming in.
Yeah.
And then it's a really funny one. I like all that.
Homework
Then the
swag
payoff with Dipper is great too.
with the go
And then,
dance. That was really funny.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Also
then
introduces all of Wendy's teen friends, such as the T.J.
yeah,
Miller character Robbie,
yeah.
which
Oh yeah, it's really funny because I did not know he was played by T.J. Miller until
really
I think Shay.
it has such
Yeah,
a
until Shay pointed out.
recognizable voice to the
Well,
point where I
I don't
knew
think I
that
like thinking
immediately.
about T. Well, I don't think I like thinking about T.J. Miller, so that wasn't on my mind. No, he does a
Yeah.
great. This is like the only thing I like T.J. Miller in. I think so. You know what? Good on him.
Yeah.
Robbie's a fun character. I like him.
Yeah. He's
He's really
funny.
pathetic, but that's funny
Yeah,
about
that's
him.
that's
But
the
yeah,
funny jokes, yeah.
yeah.
I really like the what's another one I really like? There's a lot of good ones I could talk about. I just like all of them. The best one I like, one of the
Yeah.
best ones, probably the deep end with the.
Oh,
That one's really funny.
I know that one's funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like Dipper's like pool instructor guy. He's really funny.
yeah,
And then
and how
yeah,
extreme he is with how seriously he takes his job. That's funny. I also
yeah.
like the scene where Wendy and Dipper trick Seuss into releasing a bunch of floating ducks. That was funny.
Oh yeah, that part's great.
I know
Oh,
it.
and also the fucking like C plot where Grunkle Stan fights with Gideon over
Yes,
getting
burn the
the
child.
chair.
I love that
Yeah,
plot. Yeah, that's one of the funniest parts
yeah,
of
that
that
part's really
episode.
funny.
I like how I
Yeah,
like what they do with Gideon there. Oh, I guess we could talk about
yeah.
Gideon.
Oh, yeah.
He's the main
Gideon's
antagonist of the season, I guess, and
yeah.
I think
Well,
he works
he kind
really
of
well.
becomes well. I was gonna say Bill, but Bill's not that
Bill
important to
is
season 1.
established
Uh,
here, which trust me, we'll get to later when we talk about the last two
I love Bill.
episodes. But yeah, in this season, he's mostly the main antagonist who originally crushes on Mabel and forces her into being in a relationship, and then he's revealed that he has one of the journals as like you said, Dipper
Yeah.
finds a journal, and he has one of them.
Whoever has all the journals has all the journals, famously. But Gideon's really funny. The main thing is whenever they do like him arguing with Grunkle Stan, it's really funny.
Oh my
It's this,
god,
like,
their dynamic
stupid,
is so
pathetic.
funny. I
It's
love
this
it.
stupid, pathetic little
It's so
rivalry.
pathetic. One of my favorite. I love the scene. I love in the episode Little Dipper, which is a typical shrinking
Oh yeah,
episode, but I still like it for the.
yeah,
I like it a lot for the Gideon and Grunkle Stan dynamic. I like the scene where
yeah,
like he tries to shrink Stan, and then Dipper and Mabel just like tickle him, and then
yeah. Oh,
Stan
that
just
part's
thinks he's
great.
losing his mind. That
He's
was
like
so
weirded
funny.
out. Oh, that was really
Yeah, the
funny.
character
That
interaction.
episode, yeah,
Yeah.
that episode I'm not like as into actually. Like it's funny. I'm not into the Dipper plot as much. He's like, oh no, Mabel's taller than me, and then that's the whole conflict. I don't know. I thought that was a little lame, but most of that one's still pretty good. That part's the highlight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, he works well as a protagonist because like now not antagonist. It works both ways. 'Cause he's very like pathetic, but like
Yeah.
later on he still like poses like a decent threat still, so it doesn't go
Yeah, I
like
think he's
in
like he
either
just works
direction too
really
much.
well, especially for like establishing this season of the show.
Yeah,
I think he
yeah,
works well as this
hmm
antagonist, and
yeah.
yeah, I also like the terms of humor. I also like the stuff in the Irrational Treasure that has
Oh, that one's really
I
funny.
love
Yeah,
Grunkle Stan's reaction to the medieval town. That is so funny. Grunkle
yeah.
Stan is just such a funny character. It's like there's so many. And
He
every time
very
he's having a
passionately hates it.
subplot in an episode, it's so funny. Like I
Yeah,
swear, it's so good. Great stuff right there. Um,
yeah,
yeah, it's that episode's good. I really like how it foreshadows the whole childhood thing that is like the main theme of the show in terms of moving on from their
yeah.
childhood, which I think really works well with
Mhm.
the type of summer and like fun cheery tone that the show has with like the all the mysteries and whatnot of this. Like at this point you just want the show to go on forever with all the clever cool
Oh,
ideas and all the likable characters, and I think it all
yeah.
culminates in the next season, which we'll get to more in
Oh yeah,
that
definitely.
more
Yeah.
to the main
The
theme
whole
of the show in there.
yeah. The
So
whole like conceit of it is that this is like so they kind of like talk about this in other episodes, but it's like the idea that this is like Dipper and Mabel's last traditional summer before they go into high school and everything like changes. So it's like
uh,
an encapsulation of like Alex Hirsch's like all summer memories and everything, and it's nice.
Exactly,
You get
which
all
was
that,
the reason he even made the show in the first place, obviously.
which is nice. It's about chill story about a summer, but also it's about wacky shit happening every episode, and Dipper fights an arcade character and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
It
I
works.
like that episode.
It's
Fight
all that
Fighters.
episode's really funny.
I really like the animation use with the pixel art. That
Yeah,
was really
they
good.
insert it well, which a lot of shows don't do, so I appreciate that. And
Yeah, I
it's
really
really
like
funny.
it.
Dipper like says like Robbie killed his dad or something to get
Yeah,
the arcade
and it's
guy
just
on
a
his
fun
side.
character, Rumble
Yeah,
McSturmish. Did I say that
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah. You got
yeah. I
that.
rewatched that
And then he
episode
beats the shit.
recently, and it was much. It was better than I
Yeah,
remember it being. It was actually really
oh,
funny.
that one's really good.
Yeah,
That's the one with the Grunkle Stan being afraid of heights. B plot. I'm trying to
yeah.
remember
It's a
this
nice B
correctly.
plot as
Looking
well.
at that
Almost
one's yeah,
every like B plot with these characters is it's pretty
yeah,
solid. Yeah,
yeah.
I
Works
like. I
together.
basically like
Fun.
every episode of the season in some
Yeah.
way.
I can
So
go over more
yeah,
highlights. Summerween is another one of my favorites. I really like the concept. It's like,
yeah.
oh,
Just the idea
that's
that
clever.
Halloween is a summer holiday. Let's.
Yeah, they're like,
I mean,
oh, okay, that makes sense. The show wants to have its summer episode, so we'll Halloween episode. So yeah, yeah, sure, we'll do that. And the concept's funny.
yeah.
I really like the design of the
Villain,
creature.
the
And
summerine,
just like a bunch of
summerween
discarded
trickster.
candy.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
fun twist. I think
neat.
it's cool. I
No,
also
they
really
play on
like the
that well.
subplot with Grunkle Stan trying to scare these annoying kids, and then the
Oh yeah, and they're all
resolution
like
to that is like,
desensitized to like horror shit.
yeah,
It's really
we
good.
watch rated R movies. We watch horror movies.
Yeah,
And I like how they end up, and I like how annoying, I find them really annoying, and I like their comeuppance by the end of it. Take,
yeah.
yeah, that was funny. That's a great episode. Yeah, it's like,
Oh, yeah, I
it's a
love that
funny
one.
excuse to have a Halloween episode, because it's summer, right? Like, how are you gonna do
Yeah,
that? I think Phineas and
yeah.
Ferb did the
That
same
makes
thing with, like, Christmas or something.
Oh, you know, they had no Phineas and Ferb and just had actual Christmas and Halloween episodes. They
Yeah,
just shifted
sometimes
it to that.
taking
I
place at a
remember.
completely different
Yeah.
time of year.
No, if Gravity Falls, the show has lore. Damn it, that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
You gotta go in order.
Mhm.
Make
Yeah.
sure it's logical.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was I think you got a couple.
Another
more
one of my
on
favorites
the-
is
the-
Bottomless Pit, which is an anthology episode.
Well, that one's really funny. They like all the stories.
Yeah, I like
in
the
that one.
gimmick of them just chilling at this bottomless pit and telling stories.
Yeah,
I like.
my favorite one is the Dipper voice plot where they give him a really
I love the
over
voice
top-
acting in that one. The stupid
Yeah, no, it's really funny
newscaster
the
voice
way
they gave
everything's
him.
like
Yeah, that was
delivered.
great. I
Oh,
also
it's
really
great.
like the Runkle Stan truth story and how he admits to
Oh, yeah,
tax
that
fraud.
was
That was
funny.
really funny. Runkle Stan is hilarious. Honestly, there's such
Yeah.
great
Oh,
iconic
definitely.
moments. It's a reason why he's such a quotable character. And there's like, and this is
Yeah,
we've only scratched the surface of this man's legendary moments. So come on,
Hmm.
there's a
Oh, yeah,
reason why he's so remembered by so many people.
yeah.
Yeah, and the Seuss Pinball Adventure is also cool because
Oh yeah, that
it's
was
well
pretty
animated.
good. Probably my
story.
least favorite of the
Yeah, but it's still
of
pretty
the three.
good.
But yeah,
Yeah, great,
I know, it's
great
alright.
anthology.
Funny
There's
one.
another one next season. I don't like it as much, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, it's not as funny, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I really
I'm
like
looking for more
Boss
of my-
Mabel, where Mabel
Oh,
becomes the
that
boss of the
one's pretty
Mystery
good.
Shack. The highlight
Okay,
of that
mainly
one.
that one's mainly that's another one where the Grunkle Stan part's just the
This,
funniest
I
part.
love the scene where
He's
he
on a
takes his
game show.
clothes off during a cash shower. That was so fun. That was one of the funniest
And
bits
it's-
in this season. The season is hilarious.
It's so fucking stupid too.
Cash
He's like he
shower.
doesn't know what the word please is.
Yeah.
So he doesn't win it.
That's
all.
the
He
that's the
loses
reason he
everything.
loses all his money. That's so
Hmm.
funny.
Yeah,
he
that
just
was
can't
one of
say
the-
please.
Yeah.
And I like
I
how
don't know, the
it
main plot of that one I'm not as into. It's like, oh no, they're
Yeah.
not all listening
Mabel
to Mabel.
runs
It's a
the
little
mystery
lame.
It's not.
But,
It's not.
it's
Yeah,
alright.
it's that's the highlight, such as the scene where
Yeah.
Grunkle Stan uses his old man powers. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
Classic
Class-
1940s dictatorship for Mabel there.
Yeah.
But
There's also
Yeah.
some, like we said, the shrinking and body swap episodes, which are two concepts that are like, I mean, they were in the Owl House.
yeah, they were so
Amphibia didn't
iconic.
even
They
really
used-
use them. Didn't even.
Yeah, no, because
don't even remember
Amphibious.
that.
See, this is another reason Amphibia is better. But yeah, now see, they're so iconic. They were in the best Owl House episodes, which kind of makes those ones sting a little more because the original
Yeah,
Gravity
especially
Falls
since how
episodes
good
are
these
both
ones
like
are in comparison.
they're both really good.
I really like the
The body swap one actually,
yeah.
that one's really funny. The
I
way
like
it,
the gimmick
because
with
it starts,
the carpet
yeah,
thing. That was really cool.
yeah, no, it's a good way. And no, because I think they use the body swap in like a way that like I think is more interesting than other shows do. Because not just, oh no, we've swapped the bodies and they can't adapt. No, they've swapped bodies, but they're purposely trying to fuck each other over in
Yeah,
each
so
other's
one of them
bodies,
can get this
and then
attic
that
room.
escalates. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
then
like
that
how
escalates like further because then like they get more people involved in it. It's really funny.
yeah, and in
Like,
general, I think the lessons in this show are taught. I just like the lessons in their execution
yeah,
better
no,
than Amphibious, if I'm being honest.
wow,
I
Pivia does
like
it
in
good
this
too.
one, I like the in the body swap one how it's all about Dipper wanting to be more dependent, and I feel like that works really well.
Yeah,
And in the Little Dipper one, I also really like that the reason makes such a big deal about the height difference is that she's just kind of jealous of all of the cool things and good stuff that Dipper does. It's like it's an
oh, no,
interesting
it's sweet.
conflict that I think is actually sweet and relatable. And it makes
Yeah,
me
it's
like those
nice.
episodes. I think
Yeah,
like
those are,
it's a good execution of it. Like I think they
yeah.
definitely I like the carpet episode more than the Little Dipper one though. But they're still both good.
I'd agree. The Carper one's really funny. Like, uh,
Yeah.
hmm. I like
Um.
when Seuss swaps bodies with
A pig with
Waddles.
Waddles, yeah.
Oh wait, we didn't even mention Waddles. He's the best.
He's the pig, yeah,
He's
he's
good too.
great. Speaking of
Yeah.
Waddles, we talk about the Time Traveler's pig, which is
Okay.
another
The
one of my
only
favorites.
bad thing about Time Traveler's Pig is whenever the Blendin shows up, I can only hear
Justin
Justin
Roiland.
Roiland, and I hate
Yeah,
that
I
because
honestly, it took me till
yeah,
like a rewatch or two ago. Then, like after I watched Rick and Morty, I was like, oh no, like I watched after I watched Rick and Morty, and now I hear Blendon, and all I hear is just
oh
Morty,
no.
and I'm like, oh
See, it's
god.
even worse because now I also hear him as a lemon grab from Adventure Time, and he's really annoying on that
Oh,
show.
I
Whenever I
heard
hear him
about.
as Blendin, I'm like, oh,
Oh,
oh no. He's probably the best Justin Roiland character, though. I'll
yeah,
give him
he's a
that.
fun
Like out of
character.
his,
I
yeah.
I
And that
like
episode's fun too. Uh,
yeah.
If I give it a knock for anything, I don't like the resolution. Well, I don't. I kind of don't like the resolution. They do it like all right, but it's like, oh, I don't know. I don't buy that Mabel was actually hitting her head against that pole for like months. Come
That's
on,
okay.
she clearly manipulated the situation so that she
Yeah,
could
but
get
it's not
what
like
she could
really
get the
something
pig.
that I think is working
Well,
that
no,
bad
the rest of
about.
the episode's fun.
Yeah, it's
No, the rest of the
great.
episode's fun. It's
It
funny.
is.
I
Yeah,
just
it's a
don't like.
fun time
And
travel story, and
although if I had to nitpick,
yeah,
they
I
probably
know,
could have
but
gone back in time.
inconsistent. Yeah, I
No,
feel
no, no,
like I
no, no,
don't
no.
understand.
They could have gone back a little further so that Mabel could do her thing, and then they could do the thing with Dipper if they really
Yeah, I
wanted
feel like
that
they
to
could have done
happen.
that.
But
Oh
no,
well.
no, no. I get the moral. Dipper can't always like make everything go perfectly because he does have to have this one
Yeah.
special moment. It
I
works
mean,
for the message. It's just I don't know. It's
yeah.
a
I mean,
little.
Dipper definitely sacrifices a lot to her sister, but it's not like to the point where it becomes annoying to her. So
I
like, I
think
don't take
no.
issue with it.
They work that back in
Yeah.
next season.
Yeah.
But
Next season,
I'll talk about
yeah.
that.
Um,
Mm.
another good one. There's a lot of good ones
Yeah.
here. I like
Ooh,
um. Excuse me. I like
okay.
um. I like Dipper
Mm.
versus Manliness. It's not great.
That one's one of the weaker ones for me. It's not bad. I think
Not
it just
good.
compared to the rest.
Yeah, it's
Has a
not.
good message about like toxic masculinity. How okay, now you
Yeah.
don't have to like constantly be proving shit to be like
Hmm.
a man. You know,
Yeah. One thing I
it's neat.
realized on this rewatch of that episode was I
Uh-huh.
realized that the multi bear was played by Alfred Molina, which I was like,
He
oh,
was.
yeah, he
Oh,
is. I
I
was
didn't
like,
realize
I
that.
saw his voice.
Oh,
His voice sounded familiar, and I was like, oh, that's why. And I was like, huh,
mm.
that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does also have a German pop sensation, Baba.
Oh,
So
that's great.
that's cool.
Yeah,
Mm.
what a banger of a
Love.
song.
Yeah, great bit. But
Amazing.
looking for more of my favorites here.
Yeah,
We
it's a
have the
fun. It's
carpet
like
one.
just all of these are just fun summer-related adventures that endear you to the characters in great ways by putting them for these like just great situations here, great conflicts that
Yeah,
keep
oh,
you engaged
definitely.
with what's happening. Um,
Mm.
I
Yeah,
really
looking
like
for more. I like the
the
boy band one. That one's
oh yeah, that
funny.
one's pretty.
Uh,
I have like I have some.
yeah,
I find it. I always found that one weird. Like it's a good episode. It's definitely funny. I love the parody of boy
uh,
bands with them just being like a
yeah,
complete with this just with them just being a complete manufactured.
It's quite literally they are factory made like
Yeah, it's
things.
so
It's
funny.
really funny.
There's a lot of good
But
jokes there, such as the
yeah,
part where Maple and her friends break into um to the backstage and see all of them. And the ending
yeah.
with one of them eating out of that trash can and said, "Darn
Oh,
beautiful men, always eating on my trash."
oh yeah, that
What?
part's great. Uh,
That's one of the
that
funniest
one though,
jokes in this season. It was like,
yeah. I think I prefer the B plot with Dipper and Grunkle Stan though,
that
where
one is really good.
somehow Robbie like
Yeah,
back
it
like
always
had a,
confused me. Like, I thought,
I
how
don't
did he
get
learn
okay.
that?
Now the thing wasn't how he did that. I was so confused. How does he get this? Like he
Oh,
played a song in reverse and that somehow did. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
it's kind of contrived, but that
And
does give us a
but
lot
no,
of.
it's sweet though. I like Dipper bonding with Grunkle Stan.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah.
nice.
That's
It's
why
a
I
good
still like
bonding.
that plot as a whole. Like
Yeah,
that part of it
yeah,
is well done. It's just that part is like
that
kind of
part's nice.
still
Yeah,
good though.
it's kind of
Great
stupid,
episode.
but it's fine.
Yeah,
It all worked out.
all works well.
But
Um,
yeah,
yeah. I
uh,
like Land Before Swine, and I like
yeah,
Ruckle
that was
Stan
pretty
learning
good.
to care for Waddles. That was sweet. Um,
Mm,
a bit
yeah.
mixed on the plot in that episode with Dipper getting mad at Zeus, especially since how much
Uh,
I don't know. It's not a bad plot by
it's
any
a
means.
little
It's still a
like
pretty solid episode.
it's all right. It's not as good as some of
Yeah,
their other stuff, but
yeah. Talk about most of the episodes, and I think we mentioned the legend of the Gobblewonker.
Gobblewonker.
Yeah,
Oh, that one's fun. Yeah,
yeah, that's a good
it
start
introduces
to it.
it introduces my favorite character, Old Man McGuckin.
Oh yeah,
That's neat.
he's great. I really like how they foreshadow his like well usage with mechanics and whatnot with this
Oh, you know
giant
when the oh, that's true. I didn't even think about it like that, but
yeah,
that's
that
true.
was
'Cause that's
cool.
how
I
he did
also like
the thing.
the classic my ex-wife still misses me, but her aim is getting better.
Eh,
Classic. That's classic.
I've heard that joke a lot, so it's kind of lost its impact to me. It's like the nickel joke of a Gravity
Really?
Falls for me,
I still
but
think it's
I don't know.
funny.
No, it's better than the nickel joke. If I was gonna compare it like that, but
Hip
yeah, no, but
Hunters.
that episode's
Yeah.
that episode. Oh, it's cause I'm just gonna say that episode's sweet too. It's like nice at the end. I go back to Grunkle Stan, even though they
Good
didn't.
old Garnkle
They
Stan.
still,
Also,
they still
the
had a good time, even though they like
Also, I
got
noticed that
nothing
the boat
out of
is
it.
called the Stano War, which is a great
Oh, that's a
foreshadowing thing for
great.
season two. I know
Oh,
we
that
keep.
has. Oh, hold on. I was gonna speak another thing about foreshadowing. You mentioned in fuck in the Time Traveler's Pig when they go back in time to the Mystery Shack and you think it's Grunkle Stan. That's
Oh,
actually
ho, ho.
Ford, but it's Ford's design. But you wouldn't know
Yeah,
it's Ford yet because you don't know who Ford is in any of
yeah.
that.
They
That's
basically
probably
just
one of the
showed
best
him.
like. That's probably one of the best instances of foreshadowing I've seen in a show. That's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
And
Yeah.
also in Fight Fighters, Bill Cipher's on one of the arcade machines.
Oh, I
That's
didn't
another
even
piece
notice
of
that.
foreshadowing. Yeah, I noticed that on this viewing. It's a cool detail.
There's a couple. There's
But
like a yeah. There's like one little detail I noticed near the
yeah,
finale.
his whole
We'll
thing
get
was
to it.
planned out very strategically. Some people say Gravity Falls was canceled, but no, they planned it all
No,
like
no, you can tell it
yeah,
was all
40
like
episodes,
literally
very tightly.
first episode they foreshadowed that Stan is up to something with the vending machine.
Yeah,
So like you could
yeah,
tell this
exactly.
entire story was planned out. And
Oh yeah,
yeah, I know we keep saying that like a lot of the stories here like all have undertones that build up to stuff in the next season, but I feel like this this season just does a great job at setting everything up for the next season, and it's a fantastic first season, honestly. It's just
yeah.
it's
I
great.
I agree.
I like
I like it. Just very. If I have to give it anything, it's very consistent, which I can like, which I'll say for it.
every episode.
Which
I'd
is
say like every episode of the season I like in some way.
yeah. All these are like solid ones.
Mhm.
Those are just
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think we mentioned
Yeah.
Headhunters, I guess. I don't think
Oh,
we mentioned.
Headhunters is pretty good. My favorite joke is when they assassinate Wax Abraham Lincoln. That's a good
I
bit.
like Larry King, the
Then,
wax figure
oh
of
yeah,
Larry
Larry King
King
had,
that shows up. That
and
was
like
funny.
the whole twist is that like there was actually the wax figures the entire time.
Yeah, wax
'Cause they
figure
hate
of Sherlock
Grunkle's dad.
Holmes.
Oh yeah, wax Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, that was
It's great.
cool.
got a whole collection of
I think
so
we
the
mentioned the
headhunters.
episode that introduced Gideon, but that one's also great.
Oh no, yeah, that one's great too.
Gideon's
Like the
just hilarious. I
aspiration.
like how petty of a
Yeah,
villain he is, and like
yeah,
all of his like attempts at like trying to manipulate other people is just so funny to me.
yeah. Also, love how his dad just doesn't give a shit. Like his parents are very casual the
Yeah, and his
entire
mom is
time.
just fucking gone insane from
Yeah.
him. That is like damn. Yeah,
Mhm.
Gideon's a great antagonist. He's just really funny. Um, like I said, Dipper and Maple just have a great brother and sister dynamic.
Yeah.
One thing, like I said, I really like is in Irrational Treasure, how the main conflict comes from after Maple's rival Pacifica ends up like
Yeah.
calling her weird. This makes Maple wanna like change and become more mature. But then like she ends up using her silliness to the advantage to solve the case. I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
like
nice.
cool. That's why I like that
Good.
episode. Not to mention the Grunkle Stan stuff, like I said,
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
that part's really funny.
Yeah, these episodes are like honestly, every time Uncle Stan has a side plot, it's always like really funny. Sometimes it's even the best part of the entire episode. He's just such
Oh
a
yeah, definitely.
funny
With some of these,
character.
I'm tending to notice I kind of like the random B plots more than the main stuff. Sometimes, not always,
Yeah.
but
I really
yeah,
like the ways he tries to scam people, such as how he tricks people into putting all their money in the mystery sack. So you
yeah.
put your money in the
Nah, see,
sack and it magically disappears. Seriously.
yeah, no, it's really not what they strike a really good balance with him, which I like, because they'll constantly do jokes about how shady he is or how he commits like tax fraud or does this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he's still like likable. They never go too far with it because he does care. He just like very curmudgeonly and old, and also like can't scams people all the time. Which
Yeah, it's
they
really
test
funny.
this a lot in season 2 in a really cool way that we'll get to.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, he's a great character.
Yeah, it's
Probably one of my favorites behind
definitely top
Robbie.
three.
Well, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite character's next season, but we'll
Mhm.
see.
Yeah.
See about that. Mm.
Yeah, a lot of good
Uh,
episodes here. Nice batch,
I'm
if we're
trying to
being
think about which ones have
honest.
not gone over it. Well, no,
Yeah. I
I think
like
we
other
haven't.
characters such as Maple's friends with one of them sounding like this grown adult. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, Grenda
Brenda,
and
yeah.
Candy.
And
Would
Candy.
go back to Adventure Time again. She's literally has the same voice as BMO on Adventure Time. So I was like, oh, I couldn't unhear that now that I've
Oh
seen
yeah,
Adventure
I
Time now.
actually know who
I was
BMO
like,
is, even though I haven't seen the
yeah,
full Adventure Time.
yeah. So I just heard that every time her voice actress like did something. I was like, oh, it's
Ah,
BMO. Yeah, but they have a fun dynamic and stuff. They're not the most like complicated characters, but they get good
I'd say it's
bits
like the
from.
I don't think it's a perfect season, but I think it's like a
Mm,
perfect first season.
yeah,
It's
I
great.
think I think it's gone down a little for me, and that it's like I used to think the season was like fantastic and nearly on par with season 2, and I'm like I wouldn't say that now. It's not as like
Not
strong.
as
Or
good.
well.
I think season two
Yeah.
highs definitely outweigh season one highs.
Yeah, no, season 1 has some really good highs like we've gone over, but it's not quite that level
Yeah,
yet.
I agree. Um,
Mhm.
but still, this one has just lot of great stuff. You care a lot about the characters and see them. You see, it's important. I see, you hear some people. We mentioned this in the Amphibia video with all the complaints of skipping season one, which is something even
Oh
as
boy.
a not fan of that, that don't believe that criticism at all, despite me not
Well,
being a
see, that's
big
just
fan of season
stupid. You
one.
can't
Yeah,
skip stuff.
stupid. You
How
can't do
else are you
that.
gonna care about anyone? And I
Exactly.
don't think Gravity Falls doesn't get skip arguments because people love
Yeah,
Gravity
true.
Falls.
Exactly.
So I'm glad people
And I
don't get
just
that
think
because I
that
would have
this
like
show has a great
punched
balance of
something.
episodic, fun adventures that all have a
Yeah,
deeper meaning. Like you could
no, because
tell,
even if the show never like gained any sort of overarching story, I'd still be like in for it because these are just fun characters and we get a lot of fun situations in Junk. It's a
uh,
great season. I love
yeah,
it.
I like
Love
the, yeah. What was I gonna say? Um,
it. Mm.
I like, oh yeah, all the secrets in this one. As you
Oh
see,
yeah,
Gravity Falls was always dependent on mysteries and stuff, which is why I thought
yeah,
would have been cool to have been there by the time it was made, despite the endless
yeah.
waiting for episodes, like you
See, I
stated.
wasn't. See, I wasn't there, but people went like crazy for theories on the show and like a
Yeah.
bunch of different stuff. Because I think at the beginning of every episode in the theme song, there's that like text that sounds like it's saying something in reverse.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure if you did
yeah.
that, you could actually like play it in reverse. And then I don't know, there's like a lot of shit. They always play like they have an image at the end after the credits. And I know some of them were supposed to like mean something afterwards, and people like decoded the show's different like language or something. It's really
I
like
think there
a
were like
lot of
little
stuff.
codes I noticed at the end of
There were codes,
credits.
and they
The
were supposed to mean
credits.
something.
Yeah, also like
And
how the credits have like these
yeah.
little clips that take place after the.
Oh,
what
that they
happened.
get there are a lot of the funniest bits. Are
Yeah,
those,
like the
credits.
stand was the stand was wrong dance, classic right there.
Oh yeah, or in the deep end where they play that kid who's locked in the pool.
The kid that was locked in the pool. I forgot about that.
How did he get there?
Yeah, what the hell happened?
We'll never know.
What happened? Yeah, it's like I also like yeah, also like I also don't mind the Mabel love interest in that episode, which Mabel desperately has tried multiple times to get a summer romance.
Yeah,
and her
it's kind
attempts
of
were
a
pretty funny.
it's kind of a theme they go with. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think if I think
well
of a mild
established in the
complaint,
first
sometimes
episode.
it's they establish it well. It's a little repetitive sometimes, but see, most of the time I think it's fine. Overall, it's like another Mabel romance episode, as Jello Apocalypse would say. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a solid season. I guess since usually at the beginning of, I'd say like the first season while we talk about these shows, we briefly named the technical aspects so we can focus more on stuff
Yeah,
in the
we did that
story.
with the other two.
Animation,
art style's
solid,
great.
a
We're
lot
gonna
of
go for that.
creative character designs, like the cool designs of the Manitars and the multi-bear and all
Yeah.
just the cool creatures we see, such as the gnomes and whatnot. I like the image of the big gnome monster in the first episode.
That's another as the art. The art really sells it because they have to draw this weird shit, so everything just stands out.
Mhm.
And just the look of like the town and everything, I've always liked it. It has a very like not spooky vibe, like kind of like in the
Yeah.
otherworldly vibe and aspects. It's like get you into this weird like spirit of this town. It all looks
Yeah,
great.
it definitely makes you feel immersed in this place, and you
Oh,
get
definitely.
interested in you get hooked in to see what
Like in
goes on.
particular, some of the locales, like the Mystery Shack itself, has a very distinct design and looks. You're like, okay, there we go. Now I'm sold on that. And then all the characters, like you look at Grunkle Stan or like Seuss or like a lot of characters, you'd be like, yep, this character's like this. Or like
Yeah.
you get what they're about just by looking like them. Like Grunkle Stan, he's like, you look at him, he's like, yeah, that guy's a con man. You look,
And like I said, I also like
yeah.
I also like some of the side characters, such as the two police officers.
Oh, those guys, yeah, no, I love them.
Those
Yeah.
are really funny. A lot of the side characters are fun here. Yeah, I also like the music in this show, especially
The
like,
music's good. The theme
opening.
song's great, obviously.
Um,
Iconic for a reason.
yeah,
good.
definitely fits the tone of the show. It all works well.
Yeah.
It's mostly what I'd say
Sure.
about that. So
Uh,
I'd say like the whole thing is pretty well presented, well animated. I think like I don't really everything about the presentation of the show I'd say is definitely definitely appeals. It's definitely appealing in a lot of ways. Anyways, now that we
for sure.
basically covered like I'd say pretty much every episode, up till the last two episodes. How about we get into Dreamscapers and Gideon Rises, which I think are safe to say that these are the best episodes of the season. And they're generally fantastic for me.
Well, Gideon Rises 100% is. Dreamscapers I have like a mild problem with, but we'll get to that. Yeah. So, but it's a really good one though. First of all, this is our big appearance of Bill Cipher.
Yeah. Now
Who may or may not still
Bill's
be
an
alive,
iconic
Bill
villain.
Cipher.
Yeah.
His voice is okay. I don't know if you knew about this, but you know that David Lynch was offered to play Bill Cipher.
Oh, wait.
You know about this?
I know.
Yeah,
I
really.
actually don't. What?
Yeah, no, I heard about this recently, and that's been. I can't imagine that. It's like hearing David Lynch's voice come out of Bill Cipher sounds really funny to me. But he'd be a very different character, I think, if they got him for it. But
Yeah, I can't
yeah,
imagine like him having a different voice because of how iconic this
yeah,
his voice
it's
currently
so
is.
his voice is so iconic. They just used it a second time for Bill for fuck, for King from the Owl House.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. That. Yeah. Alex Hirsch is just a great voice
which is
actor in
really funny
general.
because as we talked about in the Owl House episode, I just thought of King, but Bill every time I heard King's voice, which
Yeah,
is kind of
exactly.
funny. They're very
That
different
might be why
characters,
he might be one of my
but
favorite characters in that
oh
show.
no, but Bill is great. First of all, I love his design. He has such a
The
nice, distinct look to him. It's again, that's him.
Dreamscapers is so creative as an episode in terms
And the
of
way they go
Stan's
around Grunkle
mindscape.
Stan's mind.
Yeah, that
If
was.
I had to give it anything, um, the one thing I kind of knock is I'm not that into like the conflict they sort of push, where it's like, oh, Dipper doesn't want to help Grunkle Stan
Yeah,
because he misinterprets this very specific thing
I
that he says at this time.
understand that
Which I
criticism.
get what they're going for. It's supposed to be like Dipper's like insecurities and immediate assumptions based on how Grunkle Stan usually acts that pushes him to do this. I get that, but also it's like he could have waited a couple more seconds and we'd
Yeah,
be fine.
yeah, that's the
So,
issue. I mean, I think it makes
mm,
up for me when we get to the end of it. But like at the same time, I understand because like I don't like these type of conflicts at times when literally all they needed to hear was one last word and the entire conflict would be solved, and that
yeah,
was like
yeah,
an issue
absolutely.
here. So like,
Like that. However,
yeah,
they do get like I do like the sweet scene about it where Dipper like actually hears the full thing and it's Grunkle Stan explaining
yeah,
just how he's like
how
trying to
why he's
prepare
hard on
him.
him.
And he's like
That's
was
a great
and it's a
resolution.
really nice scene. I like it
Yeah.
a
Also,
lot.
really funny.
Yeah.
Such a funny episode. I love the British bulldog joke with Suze. That
Yeah.
always makes me laugh so hard. I want. I
That's probably
want. Hello, hello, hello. That's so funny. I also like the. I also like the two Maple's Dream Boys.
yeah.
His dream. What are their names again? I think their name are
I
Zyler
forget.
and Crad or something. Did I say that right?
Those sound like the names
I
is
think
probably it.
so.
But
Correct me if I'm
you
wrong.
know,
We
those guys.
Gravity Falls, big fans, super
Yeah,
fans.
come on, Jello. Come on. But uh, yeah,
Um,
mm,
yeah.
that was
Great
great.
episode.
Also,
Great introduction to
mhm,
Bill. He definitely
yeah.
feels different in terms of it. In terms of
Mm.
compared to the other ones, but he's still fantastic here in terms
Yeah,
of
apparently
how.
they were gonna like introduce him way earlier into the season than they like actually did. Like I forget what they were gonna do, but I've heard Alex Hirsch talk about this. It was gonna be inserted into like I think one of the earlier Gideon episodes actually, which I don't think would have worked as well. They put it in at like a natural point in the season because it kind of like transitions the main antagonist from Gideon to him going into
Yeah.
season two by the final episode of the season. Would you want to get into that, or do you have more notes
I
on
have some stuff I think I want to
Skippers?
quickly say about
All right,
Dreamscapers.
all right, go
Like I
on.
said, I really like how they introduced Bill here and how like there's definitely more sinister undertones to what he's saying, such as how when he meets
Yeah.
Seuss, Mabel, and Dipper, he refers to them as the symbols on the Cipher logo, which I think it's good to
Oh,
bring up
that's
some
true.
of the
That's
mysteries
good
at the time.
foreshadowing.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
yeah, because like the Cipher logo was supposed to be like a huge thing that
yeah,
Gravity Falls fans, while the show was airing, were predicting of which label represented each character, which was
yeah.
obviously
I
not
think
at
they were
times.
able to predict most before the
Yeah,
show
like
finished. I don't know.
Dipper being the
I know
pine
I
tree
know the
and
Weird
saying,
Mageddon 3 tells you it all, but I think they figured it out before then, which I think is cool that they were like actively encouraging the mystery alongside what was actually happening. It was neat. They had like a good symbiotic relationship. And I'm sure coming up with fan theories held over the wait time between episodes because holy fuck was that bad. But
yeah,
I'll talk about that later because that kind of plays into season two a lot more. But
yeah.
yeah,
I
it's just like the whole concept's creative, the way they like done that. It's neat. But
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, and the animation, like I said, is great with like Bill. He's a cool design, I'd say. Like
yeah. I've
he's
heard
such an
some people
iconic
say you should.
character.
Yeah, it's weird. I've heard some people say you should have a mouth, which
What?
kind of weirds me out. So if he had a
Nah,
mouth, that'd be
nah,
weird.
I don't know. They'd be very.
No, because the whole point of it is the simplicity of his design. I really that makes what makes him cool to me is like this looking Dorito looking ass guy, and
Yeah,
he's
that's
like,
what I.
then he's like the most powerful being in the universe, and he talks really casually. I find that really, really great. Alex Hirsch's vocal delivery sells it a lot. So yeah, it's great. Great
Yeah,
character. Love him.
I
Da-da.
really like. Yeah, it's a great episode. Probably might be my favorite of the season. The next one, Gideon
Oh
Rises,
no, the
is
next one's
definitely
definitely my favorite.
close. They're both amazing though.
Mm.
Gideon Rises is
Uh,
amazing. I
Gideon Rises is like it's the best of season one, and I think the first to make it into my top five. I did a ranking of all the episodes. I don't know if you probably wouldn't want me to read that off, but I have my ranking of every episode up.
mm,
So in
well,
case you're wondering, but yeah, that one definitely top five. So
yeah.
yeah, it's such a cool like. Okay, so basically to give a little context, after the last one, Gideon through circumstances like, haha, I own the mystery shack now. So then they all have to live with
Deuce's
Seuss's mom.
grandmother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I don't think I forget if she appears earlier in season one, but she's another really
Yeah, I
funny
don't remember
character.
either. I don't think she did.
Yeah, because they're most important episodes in like season two, so it's
Yeah.
probably more for them.
I
You know,
like.
that there's I like that setup a lot, and like first of all, it immediately like roots you for him because Gideon, like he's a fun character, but he's really easy to hate. So you're like, okay,
Yeah,
we gotta take
due
this.
to the way he manipulates the entire
Yeah,
town against Dipper, Mabel, and Stan, and then like
yeah,
it's interesting to see him in this him how now having the mystery shack. I forgot to mention, but I love the opening of Dreamscapers and like all the stuff Gideon attempt to do to take the mystery shack, like the
yeah.
fake signature thing.
Oh
Suck a
yeah,
lemon, little
yeah.
man. Classic.
Oh god, that's so funny.
That's really
Yeah,
funny. I like how Stan could just completely see through Gideon, which makes sense because he's like this big con artist. So
yeah. So
yeah,
he's gonna know if anyone's conning
exactly.
everyone or
Yeah,
something. Makes sense. No, but then like the stakes of it all, everything. I don't know how to describe it, but everything just feels really grand in it. And then I love the way they tie it back because they're like, all right, we're gonna stop Gideon. What are we gonna do? Oh, I know. We'll go get the gnomes. So it's like, it's like they bring it back to the pilot because they got to bring the gnomes into
yeah.
it,
The
and
gnomes are
then they
back.
help him. Yeah,
Who think that Gideon's a girl? I thought that was funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then no, then they like go further than that because then the gnomes join Gideon through circumstances.
Like the giant
Then like
robot.
oh yeah, I
Uh,
love the design of the robot. I think I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they did like a different style or like I think actually I don't know if it was CG, but they did something for the robot that makes it look different. It
like
looks really good
Seuss,
though.
becoming a bus driver and a cook.
Oh
I
yeah,
like all his side jobs they briefly give him while yeah,
yeah,
that's funny.
it's funny.
Good for Seuss. Good for
Oh
him.
yeah, good
Uh,
job.
yeah,
But,
it's a great
yeah,
episode. I like Dipper standing up to Gideon by the end of it, and the
yeah.
ending is
The
really
fight's really good. I
satisfying.
love that
One
part.
detail I just noticed on the rewatch of this episode is that when Grunkle Stan is carrying the D to the Mystery Shack, he also picks up the Journal 2 book along with it, which is something I just noticed. So like it kind of shows that like he was hiding the fact that he was stealing the book.
Oh, that's a good detail. That's
Yeah,
good.
it's like he
Yeah.
needs all of them. And
Yeah, it's also the whole scene where like the town finally figures out that
yeah,
Gideon is a con man is so satisfying because this entire season you're like you hate him and then but everyone's in the town still loves him still but it's like you're with
and
Dipper
it
and
makes
Mabel
it
that
so
entire time
satisfying
and then
when
they're like
everyone
wow when he
realizes.
goes it's so satisfying it's like, yeah fuck you Gideon
And then
and
there's
then
the
that like the
ending.
entire ending hook is like
Yeah, now
it's
that Stan has all
so
the
good.
journals and like
And he
he
has
needs
all
to
the
use it to
journals.
power this unknown device.
Yeah,
And like,
and you have no
wow.
idea what that hook is. You're like, oh my god, what
Yeah.
is that? What the?
Like, wow.
Even though I know what that is, I still was like, oh man, I got chills this like viewing. It was
Yeah,
so
it's such an
so,
impactful cliffhanger for the next season.
and it's even good because they don't even end on an end joke. They actually one more thing I forgot to mention about Dreamscaper is although they don't end that one on a joke, they just end with like this really like ominous sounding version of like the theme song as like the credits music, so that helps it a lot.
Yeah.
And Gideon Rises does a similar thing where like well, that's what we're ending on, and you don't know. And the thing that makes it so impactful, at least to me, right, is because they have a bunch of jokes about how Uncle Stan is this con man. He does this, he does that. Even though you think he's sympathetic, he's still this shady guy. So really, considering everything he does, you have no fucking idea what he's doing. It could be like a doomsday device. It could be anything. You don't know, and people didn't know because they had to wait like a year for season 2 after this. And that was like, it's just such a good way to hook the season. Like on this viewing, I was like, oh, it really got to me this time. Such a good way to like hook people. God, what a fucking amazing episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll get into that more because season 2 picks it off really well. But yeah.
Yeah. I also I really like the payoff of the grappling hook that Mabel got in
Oh yeah, the grappling because no Dipper has the hat, but the grappling hook's never
hook. Yeah, that isn't used
right.
as much.
Grappling hook.
Yeah.
Then they use the grappling hook, and it's like, oh my god,
Payoff.
the grappling hook came back. Set up and payoff.
Yeah.
It's
Anyways, I guess that's season 1. Bit of a long discussion, but I think it was nice to break down the entirety of the show in a lot of ways.
Yeah. You want to get into ratings now and everything? Because
I guess I can get into ratings. I'm gonna give this one a high 8 out of 10.
I would go with you on this one. On first watch, it was a 9. I really loved this. I think on this watch, it's gone down a little because I don't think there are fantastic ones, but it's not quite top tier after top tier, which season 2 is. So I had to make a distinction there. Yeah, I would go the same. Season 1 of Gravity Falls, really great
setup for season 2.
High 8 out of 10. And let's get into that. Season 2.
Season 2 of Gravity Falls, yes.
And one of the best seasons of television we've talked about.
Phenomenal season.
This podcast.
And everything just pays off. This is going to be a pretty long discussion and
definitely. Okay, so I think before we get into generals, you want to talk about this like the first episode first because I think that's a really good way to bring everything back.
Break down episode.
Yeah. So I think that's a fantastic one, personally, because
great way of establishing everything.
So first of all, this one aired on it's aired on August 1st, 2014, and Gideon Rises was Gideon Rises was August 2nd, 2013. So quite literally a day less than a year gap. Which I don't know how I'd withstand, unless maybe the fandom was good at coping, but who knows. But anyway, back to the beginning, right? The episode has such this intense vibe to it that I really, really love because Grunkle Stan is like pacing around the entire time. You have no idea what the fuck he's up to, so it's really intense. And then because the FBI people come in and they're like asking Dipper, but then Grunkle Stan obviously doesn't want that, but you don't know why. So it has such an intense vibe to it that I really, really love. And I think I also think it's a really it's a really clever way to start off the season with like for real zombies. When they did the fake out zombies in a tourist trap, it's like, okay, the stakes are higher now. Things just feel different.
Yeah, and the atmosphere in this one with all the zombies and the lighting, it's so well done. And also, you gotta love zombie suits. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, zombies.
I like just like suits. But he's a zombie, but with a fetish for brains. That's literally him. It's so funny.
Sorry,
I love that.
I need your brain.
Give me those brains, dog. I love that.
Yeah.
It's it's a great episode. Great premiere.
It's such a really good way to. Yeah,
especially like to establish that Stan knows like more about like with Stan revealing that he is perfectly aware of all the supernatural stuff happening in the town of Gravity Falls. So
which and then like revealing that, and then they still are kind of lying to each other because like Dipper is still gonna continue looking at shit, and Grunkle Stan doesn't even reveal everything. But great, such a great like opener there. I love how they establish everything there. And then the episode right after that, Into the Bunker, is one of my like, I think it's top 4 I really love that. I don't know what your thoughts on in terms of the
I think
rest
it's
of the season.
great. I think
Definitely
it's
love.
another great one. I
Oh, I
really
love that one. One of my
I
like
think it's a great
favorites.
one. I don't know if I love it as much as you, but I
Mm.
still think it's great.
Yeah. Oh,
First
it's
off, the
fantastic.
atmosphere and just the horrific images,
Mm.
such as how they tease us with
Yes,
the
the bunker.
idea
Oh, it's
of
so
the
cool. Oh,
of foods the journals like really belong to, is
yeah.
done so well right
Oh,
here.
yeah, it's so cool. The atmosphere and everything is in. It's so great. Like the part where Dipper thinks they did find the guy, but then Wendy looks over and sees the cans, and the guy's just actually impersonating that guy.
Yeah, this
And like you
shapeshifter is
slowly figure
so
out
creepy in
getting
a
the
good
shape.
way.
First of all, he's played by Mark Hamill, which immediate props there up top.
Oh, I
Great
didn't even
voice
notice that.
performance.
Interesting.
Yeah, but no, he does a really good job, and his like his design. He's such an eerie concept to me that he like everything like blends and everything. It's
Yeah.
such a good
I
like
also like
yeah.
how they wrap up the resolution of the Dipper Wendy crush thing with them just having a
Oh yeah,
simple
it's
talk
so
over it.
okay. I
Feels very
love that.
natural, and I really like that
Oh,
conclusion.
that's great. Okay, they do it in a great way because I feel like we didn't talk about Wendy that much in
Yeah, I guess
season
there
one.
isn't
She
really too
was
much
like
to say about
yeah,
her in the first season. Kind of mentioned
yeah.
the whole
Robbie's much yeah.
yeah
No,
we kind of mentioned the stuff with Robbie, such as them
Robbie's
dating,
better
Double
anyway. But no, they
Dipper,
do
the fighters
yeah.
episode thing. Mentioned a
Mhm.
bit of that.
Yeah, we mentioned those briefly. But yeah, no, the point is it works well for season one. It makes sense for Dipper. It all works out. Then I think they played a really smart move here, being like, all right, we're 2 episodes in. This can't go on forever. So they're like, we're just gonna naturally like do this. And it's great. They don't do like some weird like they don't do it like unnaturally at all. It all fits really well. Cause really all it is Wendy just has a nice talk with him. And then that resolves everything nicely and they both feel better about it. I really love the scene itself where Wendy's talking to Dipper is really nice. I love that part. And then boom, they end it off really nicely. One of my just favorites of the season in general. Fantastic episode. And yeah, and then even after that, I think the main thing is season two. It feels like the stakes are way higher. The Adventure Time
Yeah,
stakes.
you can
They're
tell
like,
based off of everything that was established
yeah,
last season.
especially in like especially with the pilot and into the bunker all that's not the season premiere not the pilot having those all together season two just has this different like grander feel to everything that I really like that they carry on throughout well she maybe not the one after that but the golf war is a really funny episode
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
one was good.
but
I love Patton Oswalt golf ball
yeah, I noticed
uh
that with during
yeah,
the rewatch. I recently rewatched that one, and I was like,
yeah,
I noticed that was Patton Oswalt who played, and I like how they conclude
yeah,
the Pacifica arc thing that was
yeah,
established in like, yeah, in last
yeah,
season she was established as Mabel's rival, and I like how they like start a redemption for her here.
yeah.
Um, and
I
I
didn't mention this in I didn't mention this in season one, but I think Shafe pointed it out. It's weird that Pacifica she has like 3 episodes back to back to back in season one, and then she's not on the rest of it. At least
oh
pacing
yeah.
wise, I didn't, I wouldn't consider that a problem. I just realized that because I remember that being pointed out. But it's a fun dynamic in here, and also the Gulf War has the big headery joke, which was made by Matt Braley. So of course, I like it. That part's really funny too, and that's great.
Yeah.
Great little episode.
And yeah, I also
Definitely
like
lower.
the gotta mention the Big
Excuse me.
Henry joke that was written by Matt
Yeah,
Braley.
that's what I said.
What'd you think of
I
that
just
joke? As a big fan
that's
of
what I.
Amphibia.
Oh, it was great. You could tell it was him because he says Polly. I was like,
Yeah, that's Big
that's him.
Henry's daughter.
I
The
clapped.
joke is
Good,
really
good job, man.
funny.
Proof Matt's been based since the beginning. Good job, boy.
I also like
But
the
yeah,
golf ball guys kidnapping
yeah,
Pacifica's golf
yeah.
instructor.
It's
That's
just
funny.
silly concept that they're these
Yeah.
sentient golf balls that like kidnap people. It's great.
It's so funny,
But,
yeah. And how all
yeah, I
they
love
want is just this little sticker on Mabel's shirt, and I think
it. Yeah, yeah, really
it's
funny.
really good. I think it establishes the ending really
Classic
well. And
episode.
then the next one is Sock Opera, which I really
Okay, so
love.
sock opera is really good. First of all, our boy Bill's back again.
Yeah,
Let's
and
go,
I
Bill.
love how what they use with him here, with him like
Yeah.
taking control of Dipper's body, and
First of all, I
also
love his design when he's possessed by Bill. He looks really cool.
yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like how he uses. I like the animation and details of what they do
yeah,
when he's inside Dipper's body.
yeah, it's probably my favorite Mabel boyfriend plot out of any time that they try it in like other
Yeah,
episodes.
I also really like the dip. I also really like Maple's puppet stuff, and I
Yeah,
like the
the actual
designs she
puppet
gives
show is
him.
really funny. It's so
Yeah,
also Puppet Dipper.
I love that design. Yeah, it's so goofy. It's really funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, I also like the. I also just like the main ending and message here. Like I said,
yeah,
I really like the messages these shows have teached with the sibling dynamic, and I already really liked what they did in season one with a lot of the messages
mhm.
of with their growth. But I also like how in this one we kind of mentioned this earlier. Remember the criticism with them with Mabel's character that you mentioned
You know,
earlier.
people that yeah, this is kind of the one I have mild criticism with her character afterwards, but this is like I don't know, this is like one of the main times she's like it feels like kind of like because I think Bill literally calls her out on it when he's talking to Dipper. He's like, "Oh, you sacrifice all this stuff, and then Mabel barely repays you for it." But that's nice. They
Yeah,
kind of half resolve that on this one, and that's it's a really funny one too. I love the whole end fight with Mabel and Bill
yeah.
in Dipper's
And
body.
I
It's a
feel like the
great.
thing with the Maple sacrifice stuff, I feel like that was never done to the point where she ever became annoying with it for me.
Well, no, because I've seen some people exaggerate it. It's like, oh, every episode, but
No,
it's
no,
every once in a while. They give it
no.
time. I don't know.
Exactly.
I find it annoying in the moment sometimes. That's because I feel bad for Dipper every time. But it's good, solid, solid stuff. I'd say. But
I do like
yeah,
the conflict here a lot, and I like Bill's inclusion here. I think like because Bill is not such an iconic villain, despite having
yeah,
like little screen time leading up to the finale, and he's still a fantastic villain. The way they build him up, all
yeah.
the just to see, just
He's such
the
a good friend because he's funny. But like this episode has such stakes to it the entire time. It's
uh,
great.
yeah, it
Like,
is.
mm,
It's just an amazing episode. I feel like Bill is just
mhm.
and it's just like you're definitely looking forward to see what Bill's gonna do next.
Oh, 100%. You
Yeah.
want to just do the rest of these in like order because I feel like
Yeah, I guess that's the best way
kind
to
of how
do
I'm
this.
feeling.
I know we've
Like,
been going episode by episode, but I feel like at times with shows, it's good. That's like the best way to
nah,
do it.
I think it's easier to go like this. We'll just go episode by episode for
It's
this
kind of it
season.
kind of depends on the show, but we could yeah, let's
Yeah,
do it here. Next
yeah.
one is the
Ooh,
Seuss and the Real Girl.
ooh, this one's really good. Now
I
I know
love
you
this
as the
one.
FNAF. I know you as the FNAF expert love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, of course,
Well,
but
no,
it's
I
not
think it
just
literally
that.
came out the same like summer as FNAF. Yeah, no, because this the
It's
episode
close.
was September 2014 and FNAF was August 2014.
Yeah, the
We're,
side plot
we're
with
just around.
with
Yeah,
Grunkle Stan kidnapping a badger animatronic, and then they have like this big fight. It's so funny.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But no, the main plot's really nice because what I like is that season one has a lot of like the only real Seuss thing is like Land Before Swine, and even then I'm not huge into the conflict there. So
yeah,
nice, Seuss gets 2 episodes this season to prove himself a little bit, and this
uh,
one's really nice. He gets obsessed with he becomes a Discord mod basically.
he becomes one of those creepy grown men who are
I
addicted
haven't
to
seen Natural Sunlight in 78 hours.
yeah, and he plays this Doki Doki Literature Club parody thing, and it's like
Oh, no, this was before that.
yeah,
No,
sort
it's
of,
the
but
same
like
type of
I don't know,
thing.
kind of
Yeah.
predicted that, but
No,
it
that's still
gets that it has
that's,
that
I
vibe
get
in
what
some way.
I get what you're saying. But it's
Yeah,
this kind of creepy thing where he quite literally gets sucked into the game. It's
yeah,
great.
it's so
Yeah,
funny, and I
I love
really
the way they like commit to like the video game looking art style
yeah the
for
pixel
great.
style that was
Yeah,
cool,
the pixel art. I was blanking on
and
the
the
word, but
stuff
yeah, it
with the
looks really
animatronics
nice.
was really funny. Not just
Mhm.
my
And
FNAF bias here.
it's sweet too. Like when they actually push him out there, Seuss is actually
Yeah,
able to make a connection,
meets
and it's nice.
someone who he can relate to. I think that's a really nice
Yeah, no, it's
moment.
super sweet. But then Giffany's oh no, uh no, it's I have to be with Seuss, and then it gets
It's a
like
It's a fantastic episode, honestly. I really love this
Above,
one.
it's really
It's
good the
really
way they
funny.
bring it up.
There's a lot of good
Yeah.
moments. It's a great episode.
Oh
Really
yeah,
like this
definitely.
one. Ignoring my personal FNAF lore bias here, but yeah,
Har
it's
har
still
har har
amazing.
har 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 har. Yeah.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
episode. I also really
And,
liked the stuff with the Goldie thing that that
yeah. Oh yeah. Then she like possesses the
yeah, and then it
animatronic.
like ends
I was about to
with the
say
Goldie
FNAF
thing
animatronics.
eating
God
the
damn
badger
it.
thing, biting on it. It
Yeah,
was I loved that.
that's great.
It's
Well,
great.
then the resolution to like his girlfriend can't like stay or whatever, but they still talk digitally, and then she comes back in Weird Armageddon 3 too, which is nice. But
Yeah, it's
we'll get
good.
into that. So yeah,
Um,
fantastic episode. Really like this one. It's really nice.
yeah, I
Uh,
really like
yeah,
yeah, it's great episode, one of the best ones. Next is
yeah.
Little Gift Shop of Horrors.
This
Um,
one is it's pretty good. The bottomless pit was it's the better anthology
Definitely
though.
better. I enjoy this one. First
Yeah,
there's the
I will
grunk.
say the framing of this one is a little weird. It's just like you don't see who the person is. You're like it's a POV shot while Grunkle stands
Yeah, I
talking
don't
to
even
you, which
think it's canon. I think I
I've
read
always
that
found that
somewhere.
no, I don't think it's canon because like I don't think it should be canon that Grunkle Stan like
It's just kind of weird.
drug the guy and let him stay
I mean, it's
alive
funny
as
that
an
he
encrypt-
like poisons this
Oh
guy.
no, it's funny,
That
but
was
that
really
doesn't make the
funny.
most sense.
I
So
did
it's a little
like
weird.
some of the stories. I liked
I like the Waddles pig one where he
yeah, I actually
becomes
kind of
really
like that one.
intelligent.
Yeah.
Uh, and the stop motion in the
Oh, that
stop
was great. The
motion
friggin'
side is
stop
really
motion
good.
animation and how they
I find
parody
it
it,
really
that was
funny.
great.
Mabel's afraid of stop motion
It's such a
specifically
funny
for some
idea
reason.
for a fear.
Yeah, it's a specific
It's like
idea.
the regular show episode with the British car.
Oh
It's
my
such
god!
a
Oh, it is
specific idea.
actually. Yeah.
It's such like a weird idea for
I
someone
love.
to be scared of, but that's like why it's so funny.
Yeah.
So
Oh
like
yeah, it's great.
yeah, I think that works really well. It's yeah, and as for
Yeah.
the Stan loses his hands, there's a couple funny jokes there, I guess.
That one I'm not as into, to be honest. It's not as
Yeah,
funny for
it's
me.
definitely I think the claymation one is my favorite, and the other
Yeah.
ones are the other two are I like kind of like the Waddles one. The
All right.
yeah, I don't know. It's a good episode.
It's a good episode, just not
One of the
great,
weaker
especially
ones of
compared to
the
the
series,
season.
I'd say. Definitely one of the
Higher
weaker
track
ones
record.
in my
When we
opinion.
go down the list, we'll get to the two I actively do not like, but that's
Yeah.
in a bit.
Next, I don't have
Yeah.
much to say about this episode. I like it in some way, but I just think there's like much better episodes. It's
Yeah, there's
definitely
definitely
one of the
better.
weaker ones of the
Especially since we have
series.
that season one like anthology to compare
Yeah,
it
the
to.
season
So,
one
yeah,
Bottomless Pit was much better. It had a much like
doesn't
better
quite.
gimmick outside of
Okay.
the anthology stories that were being
Yeah.
told. So I think that's why I prefer
Yeah.
that one a little. Next
Yeah.
is Society of the Blind Eye.
Okay, now
That
this
brings
one I
back
really like.
yeah.
First of all, I think the main thing I like about it is the concept is just something that's so like fascinating to me. Like the whole thing that the Society of the Blind Eye is like we're gonna Shrek the Third these things. They don't exist. You don't know what supernatural stuff's in Gravity Falls. It's like I find that really interesting, like as a concept. Should be like, oh no, these things aren't real. You imagine them, they don't exist. Like how it's like censorship or just trying to pretend what people don't like isn't there. It's a concept I find really fascinating on like different levels, and the way they introduce it is like really interesting to me. And like the whole reveal at the end that it was actually McGuckin who started it, that was really cool to me. I think that's why he's like if I'm being for real, he's like my second favorite character because of this like
Yeah,
the
I
whole
like how
reveal and
they
everything. It's
I
so
like what
interesting
they do
to
with
me,
him
the
in the
whole
season.
thing. Yeah.
Well,
Oh, I guess we didn't talk about McGuckin much in season
yeah,
one,
he
but he's
doesn't do
great.
too much in season two. He's
Second
mostly
favorite
just a
character.
goofy side character.
You know,
Oh,
he's
we're
really
to go
funny in
back
this one.
to. Actually, I'll mention it
Oh, hold on.
later. Never
I
mind.
don't know if you have
I'll
a quick
mention it
note, you can
later.
go back to.
I'll mention
Okay,
it
yeah.
later when we
All right.
get to a certain thing, but
Okay, yeah,
um,
but then nah, he's really funny on this one. McGucky just like tagging along. He has his own like language that you hear the subtitles for, but none of the characters have any idea what the fuck he means. The Dipper's just confused.
Yeah,
It's
that was
really
funny.
funny.
And I also like his interesting backstory about him knowing the author of
Oh
the
yeah,
journals, who we haven't
I
mentioned, but
think his
that's what
like
Dipper's main goal is, just to solve who wrote the
yeah,
journals. And
he's trying to find who. He's still trying to
yeah,
find the
that
other
was the plot
journals.
of Into the
Whoever has all the
Booker. That's
journals
what that
has
was
all
all
the.
about.
Yeah,
So
whoever
yeah,
has all the journals has
it's
all the
great.
journals.
It's a great episode. I like the Society of the Blood. I like
Yeah,
that stuff.
it's really
It's a cool
because
idea for
the
an
initial
episode.
scene where you see where you see McGucket's initial like transition into being more insane. That scene has always stuck out in my mind. I find it so like so eerie, like how you see him slowly like just lose his intelligence and become the insane person you see today. I think it's enhanced more when you figure out why he started hiding his memories. And also I just find the whole thing interesting. Like he was the one who he started for like initial like small intention. He was like, all right, I want to forget this one thing. But then it spiraled and it spiraled, and then it made
Yeah,
him lose his intelligence, and then he got other people involved, and it created like a whole thing. The
yeah,
whole
it's very
cycle is just really
interesting.
fascinating to me. It's one of my
I'm
favorites
sad,
for
honestly,
that
to be
reason. Oh
honest.
no, it's sad. I feel so bad for him. It's fucking keep making Adventure Time comparisons. I don't know why it keeps coming to me. It reminds me of Ice King's backstory and Adventure Time. Both of them are really good, by the way. Just a plug. But yeah, no, they do both very interesting. And
Yeah,
also, I like Mabel's plot on this one, where she's like, she basically learns the lesson, like, no, yeah, bad shit happens, but you can't just pretend it never happened, because how are you gonna learn anything? It's a
yeah.
nice little moral they teach it, and they get a good resolution out of it. Yeah, this one's always been like one of my top favorites for that. Yeah, definitely top seven. Uh, so yeah, great one.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a great episode. The next one is Blendon's
oh,
Game,
yeah.
which is another
Ooh, Blended's
fantastic,
game is really fun. I
another
like
great
it.
one. Yeah,
Uh, they get a lot of good like jokes out of being in like the past because like and just seeing how things have changed in like a bit. I like past Robbie a lot. He's like basically the same, except he's
yeah.
like
He's just like this young, just this young version of him.
yeah.
That's funny.
Although kind of the next episode kind of contradicts that joke, but hold on, we'll get to that. But you know, it's fun. I like what they do with Seuss a lot, where he's like, where he
Mhm.
spent because in his childhood he never, his dad was always
Yeah,
away,
it's really
presumably because he
sad
was a shitty
story.
dad. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
I
think
know I like the resolution to it, where he could get that chance, but then he's like, you know what? My dad was probably a shit guy. I'm glad that I'm gonna spend my birthday with the people who actually care about me, and not just someone who says he cares about me because it's related. It's a
exactly, yeah.
really sweet lesson to it. I
It's a
like it.
yeah, it's a very sweet episode. What you think of the act? If I had an issue, I'd find it weird that they skipped over the entire like titular Blender revenge story thing and just
Uh,
condensed it into a
did you
montage.
mean did you mean Blendon? You called him Blender, but
I thought I said Blendon.
he said Blender. I heard you, but I guess I've heard that as a criticism. Me personally, I'm fine with it because the stuff that they do focus on, I really
Yeah,
like
great
like the
episode.
laser tag setup's really fun. The whole like beginning with the
Everything in
mystery
Seuss
behind
I
why
just
Steve
really
hates
love
his
here,
birthday.
and the
It's
Blendon
all
stuff,
great.
while I don't like as much, is still really good.
The only bad thing is you have to hear Justin Roiland
Yeah,
speak. But, you know,
that's the biggest
so
problem with Gravity Falls.
yeah, honestly, kinda, I hate his voice.
Damn.
He's so punchable. But yeah,
Yeah. Um.
Abundance Give's another really good one. I
Yeah,
like it a
it's up
lot.
there. Next is The Love God, which is probably the worst one so
This is
far. I don't really like it.
oh
It's
definitely.
not
I
terrible.
do not.
It's fine.
It's
I
not
don't know.
awful, but okay, to get positives out of the way,
The
there
ID
are a
Kids
couple really
balloon.
good. Yeah,
That is one of the
that's like the
funniest
one part that
jokes.
everyone had.
Oh no, two letters fell off. That was so funny.
Oh, it's
I
so
laughed
funny.
that is hilarious. That's like the
The
best part of
perfect
the episode.
and yeah, and to give it credit, I don't think it starts off terrible, but I don't. Okay, first of all, I love Robbie, but I don't know if he's the type of character we need another episode for. They kind of we get some Robbie
Yeah, I guess I'm
character
kind of tired
assassination.
of
This
of him always like I don't know. I'm kind of tired of seeing
yeah,
this type of stuff.
Yeah. The main thing is, by the way, I was gonna say what contradicts it. So in this one, you have that joke where it's a montage of as a kid, Robbie was really nice, and then you see the slow transition of him to looking emo. But it doesn't make sense because if we're going by Blend's game, he was
Ah,
always really edgy, so the joke doesn't
continuity
actually.
error.
Which is really weird because these episodes are back to back. You think they'd like
Yeah,
spruce
yeah,
up
that
a
is
little
weird.
bit? But
This came right after last episode. So
and it
like,
wasn't even a big airing gap. It was only like 2 weeks.
oh
So
yeah, exactly.
uh,
Like what?
that's amazing.
That's weird.
Gravity Falls. But yeah, I don't know. The whole love potion thing honestly just makes me uncomfortable. Like, oh,
Yeah,
Mabel
I don't like the
gonna
ending
force
at
these
all.
people to be together against their will, and that's the happy ending.
And then
Like,
she
it just
just
makes me
doesn't reverse
uncomfortable.
it. So
Genuinely.
near the end, then all the
Yeah,
friends just randomly come together by convenience,
and
and it feels
the
very
whole
forced.
conflict is so
So
stupid. Like they specify specifically that Wendy's like the chill one. Why would she give a shit about this specific thing? Because apparently their entire teenage friend group falls apart just because of
yeah,
Robbie doing this specific thing.
it's
I find that
stupid.
so weird. The thing is, I think they could have had a fun episode on its own if it were just Mabel trying to cheer up Robbie the entire time, and they do that for like the first act. No, they don't really stick to that, and it's not. I really just don't like the direction it goes in. And then
Yeah.
like they just come back together randomly. And it's I don't know. It's just I don't want to say gross. That sounds extreme. But it's like, oh, Mabel forced these two people to be together so she could feel better about herself, and then she wins at the end because apparently that was the right thing to do. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
like
it just
that. That just
it feels
I just don't
gross.
like
I
the
don't know.
ending.
I don't
That's like
like
the
it.
only thing I dislike about it. Is just
And
the
yeah, the ending
ending.
leaves a really sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah, not bad episode,
Um,
I guess, but it's that compared to all
uh,
of these, it's definitely just,
yeah.
it's fine.
I will say
It's
though,
decent, I
I
guess, has its
do find
moments.
Robbie's parents really funny though. They introduced them in this one. They're
There's
great.
nothing actively terrible about this episode. Nothing that
Uh,
good either. I mean, the only
it's
thing
not
I
like
just
terrible.
actually
I'm like,
dislike is that ending.
uh, yeah, I'm just like incredibly like, well, not mixed on it. I don't know. Just doesn't get real. The ending sours it a lot, but even
Uh-huh.
still, I'd say it's the second worst episode of the show.
Yeah, I
I'll rant
agree.
about the worst one later. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's just,
I
eh.
agree with that statement.
Mhm.
Next is
So I don't have much more to love God be. Okay. Oh, this is when the
Northwest
season gets
Mansion
really
Mystery.
good.
Yeah,
Like this, we're almost,
this is one of the best episodes of the series, if I'm being honest.
yeah.
I really love it.
So first of all, um, I don't know how they got away with some of this stuff. Like,
The
okay,
imagery here, like the frozen
oh,
things, the ghost stuff, it's generally so haunting and well done. And I'm like, damn, this is sick.
yeah, it's yeah, it's visually well animated too. It's great. The whole design, like when Dipper and like Pacifica are like going in and like testing it out, it all looks really nice. And they develop Pacifica well because like the love god, well, not the love god, fuck the Gulf War. Why did I say the Gulf War? Starts that with like how she's like not as much of an asshole at the end, but then they develop it further in this one where it's like she's only like this because her parents practically control her to
Oh,
think and like act in certain ways. I find it really interesting, like the visual of her dad just holding up the bell and ringing it, and that like brings her back into like
yeah, it's
behave.
a great redemption arc for her. And a part of me
Yeah,
wishes like they used her again after this.
this is what sucks. Like she's really good here, and then she doesn't like
Yeah,
appear
she
again
doesn't
after.
really do anything after this, especially since they
Apparently,
establish a potential romance
apparently
between her and Dipper. I noticed that.
I've heard about that. You know what? That sounds nice.
Yeah,
I'm okay
we're
with
how
that.
yeah, it's
Like,
gonna. I don't know, but still
apparently
a
they like
fantastic episode.
apparently like they get another Pacifica thing, but only in one of the comics. So I never read the
Oh,
comics. I don't know how to
nice.
read. Sorry, so I never got into that. No, but yeah, it's a really yeah. Oh, and then this resolution's really great too. When she's like, you know what, I'm gonna finally stand up to my parents, and she opens up the door, and all the
Mhm.
townsfolk come in.
It's
It's
a
a great
very
ending.
satisfying ending, and it's like a
Yeah.
really good message, and it's very satisfying and good
Oh yeah, no,
redemption for this
definitely. After
character.
like everything else, it's really
Yeah.
satisfying. Oh, and then there's the end where Dipper and Pacifica are just like having fun, not caring about like I don't know, like her status and shit. Like she gets mud in her shoes instead of being like disgusted. They just have fun. It's nice. The sweet little end, and also the Mabel B plot's funny, but it's not as good. So
Yeah,
it's solid.
it's really good. It's
Yeah.
good. Good
Nice.
episode.
Oh, and also the hook at the end where McGucket comes in and he sees like this timer and it's like, holy shit, what's
Yeah,
gonna happen?
right.
There's a timer now. Do you have any more on this one? Because the next two episodes we have a lot to say about, I think.
No,
I don't
no,
know if you
I
just
don't think so. Not what he
okay.
seems. Might be the
Okay.
best episode of the
Okay,
series.
putting my foot down, this is okay. These next two episodes are the two best episodes of Gravity Falls. This is not a hot take, but I'm just gonna lay it down. And not what he seems is the best episode of Gravity Falls. I'm gonna say that point blank.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to discuss with this one, so we'll just get right. Let's jump right into it, as
Yeah.
one might say.
So, wow. First off, just the tension and atmosphere here is so well done to like.
This one's so good at tension. I love it.
Yeah,
So
it is
good.
so like it is the way it's lit and everything just works so phenomenally well. And it's like,
Oh, definitely. I think my favorite part is like not my favorite, but they do a really good job at the beginning where you see Grunkle Stan just having like a nice normal day with Dipper and Mabel. They play with the fireworks, then they play with the water balloons. It's like, oh, this is a nice way to start it off on a normal note before you know shit's gonna go down. And then bam, shit goes down right away because Grunkle Stan he's taken away, he's arrested. And what works so well about what works so well about it is that like you because like from like what has been established previously, we don't Gravity Falls like what season one establishes, that Grunkle Stan is like this very shady character. Like I said, you don't know what he's up to. With that big doomsday device, he could be up to anything. So you're carrying that into season two. And because of it's karaoke, a lot of the episodes they continue to have this. So really, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, you're like, nah, they're not gonna make Grunkle Stan the antagonist randomly out of nowhere. That doesn't make sense. That's just not how it would work. That's not how, let alone a Disney show. They're not gonna make their third main character the antagonist randomly out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like that would just be weird.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, the show sucks you in so much that even though even for me, even though I know that Grunkle Stan isn't gonna be an antagonist randomly, it still sucks you into it, even knowing that. That's what's so interesting about it to me. It's like, oh, is he? And that's what makes it really.
You've seen the bond between the twins and Grunkle Stan built up so well that this betraying trust is generally very interesting to see.
It keeps you on edge for all of it. It's so interesting because, for all we know, he could be fucking planning to bomb the world. We don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know what his true intentions are, and it's very interesting to see Dipper and Maple figure this out and doubting their Grunkle, and it's very interesting, and it leads to such an engaging character conflict between them, especially since you believe the bond all of them have shared throughout these last episodes. It's so good. It's so well done.
Yeah, so well done. I think one of my favorite parts is when they finally get back to the mystery shack and they're looking over the security footage, and both of them are just in denial over what's happening. Dipper doesn't want it to be true, but his skepticism immediately jumps down, and then Mabel's just in denial about it because she doesn't want that to be true, obviously. But all the signs are pointing towards this. It's just such a fascinating thing. It's really, really compelling how it all comes. Oh, and then when they find all of his fake passports and it says Stanley Pine's dead, and it's what the fuck? Because if you go into that not knowing what the twist is, you're baffled. What happened? Who is Stan even Stan? Is that his name? Which technically
you don't know. It's so cool. Yeah.
Such an interesting episode.
Especially with all the fake IDs, all the camera footage when he swears on one of them, which is a little funny joke I liked.
That part's great.
Great episode.
I could finally swear for real. Son of
and then the ending with Mabel, the ending floating, the damn cliffhanger with Stan's brother. Holy shit!
The shot of Mabel just floating in front of
away
the
from the lever.
So cool.
It's so impactful.
And it's so interesting because you come in right, and then like, well, oh, okay, I love the part where like they have to convince Seuss to let him like go past it because
Mhm.
Seuss is still like very faithfully trusting him despite their skepticism. That creates like I like that little bit there. Then they
Yeah.
all come down, and then Grunkle Stan comes down, and it's like, see, it's an interesting scene because if you don't know, they're like you're with Dipper and Mabel. You don't know whether you can trust them or not. Obviously, you want to, but like Grunkle Stan saying you gotta believe me, that's not gonna hold water. He does that on like innocent people all the time when he's scamming people. You
Hmm.
don't know, and that's what's so cool about it. It's like so good. And then oh god, that final shot where it's like you see Ford and Stan's like, that's my brother. And then they just cut.
Ooh,
And then you have
ooh.
the credit shot of young Stan and young Ford on the swings. No joke or anything. It's such a
Oh,
good moment.
yeah. It
I love
might
it.
be my favorite episode of the series. I'm still.
It's mine for
It's
sure. But
close between this one and the episode that is after this for me.
okay, that one's right in second place for me. So that's like I
Yeah.
agree there.
Speaking of
But yeah,
that, I think we said most of what we needed to say, but amazing episode right
uh,
here.
yeah, I think I went over my main arguments very well. One of the
Yeah.
best episodes of television ever made. Fantastic
A
episode.
great way of, and it's like it raises tensions and stakes so well.
Yeah.
Next is A
All right.
Tale of Two Stands.
Now, first of all, the first thing I want to bring up before we get into the episode itself is first of all, I'm gonna pull up the exact number now. But I think the gap between Not What He Seems and A Tale of Two Stands is the biggest gap between episodes. Well, hold on, let me look. Yeah. So on, okay, yeah. Yeah. So Not What He Seems was March 9th, 2015, and A Tale of Two Stands was July 13th, 2015. So I cannot imagine waiting like amount of time. That would have been fucking hell
I
for
know.
fans at the time. But luckily, this episode is amazing, so it was definitely worth the
Uh-huh.
wait at the time. So
Yeah.
it's a proper introduction to Ford. I'm gonna say Ford is my favorite Gravity Falls character. I love him.
Yeah, he's
He's the
voiced by
best.
J.K. Simmons, who does a great job.
Which was great because I didn't know that
Really?
when I first watched. You know, I didn't know about it because I didn't. Okay, I knew general plot stuff, but surprisingly, I was left
Yeah,
unspoiled for
yeah,
most of
same.
Gravity
Oh my
Falls.
God, same. I was not spoiled about the brother
Okay,
twins, so I was so
did you know about Ford being like a character? Because I can't imagine how much that would have
No,
hit if you didn't
actually. I
know
think I
either.
heard
Oh,
something
he
about
must have
two
had such a good
stands, but I
experience.
didn't know that it was his
No, I knew he
brother.
had a twin, but I didn't know what the whole like thing was with
Yeah, and it's
the
so impactful
storyline.
seeing this all come from.
Yeah,
It's so realistic seeing two brothers like this just grow apart over these
yeah,
circumstances.
it's such a good
It's
like
such a great
yeah.
backstory, and like
So just
you
give
can
a general idea,
sympathize
which is
for
that
both
yeah,
of them really
yeah,
well in their own
you get both
ways.
of them because see the opening you kind of get it because like you get the couple. First of all, I like child like Stan and Ford bonding. It's nice. You
Yeah,
get
it's
that
really
whole
wholesome.
thing. It's really sweet. But then like you get it really well because obviously Ford he's like a genius practically. He can
Mhm.
do whatever he wants basically. So he's gonna want that. You see Stanley, he's like they establish very clearly he's kind of the black sheep of his family, so not like liked as
Exactly.
much. So then he's like, okay, what they establish is like Stan Lee is practically nothing without Stan Ford, at least in his mind. So even though it's irrational, you get what his decision is, which end up he like fucks up Ford's experiment, and that's what causes the start of their rift like apart, which is
Mhm.
really interesting because you feel for both of them, and it's like heartbreaking because it's the first time Ford can't really stand up for Stanley, and it's great. I love that whole bit a lot. It's great,
Yeah.
great
Um,
stuff.
yeah, and it's just such a well-defined and well-written backstory, seeing each of these characters at their low points, and it all culminates in an amazing ending. And I also like seeing Dipper, Mabel, and Seuss's reaction to all of this information, and the conclusion is pretty funny. It's
Yeah.
all great.
Oh yeah. I like Dipper's reaction to like hearing that like Ford made the journals. He's like really over the toply excited about it. It's really charming. And then like yeah, the whole thing you just natural. I like all they have like a montage of Grunkle Stan's like ideas for like business afterwards, and all of them like fail horribly, which kind of starts his his streak as a scam artist. It's really funny. The whole
Yeah, I
like
really like
bit
all
of
the
it.
ads he makes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's a
will not give you rashes.
it will not give
Gave
you
people rashes.
rashes.
It
It,
gave people rashes.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
really good. Honestly, I don't know if I have as
yeah.
much to say, but it's just such an amazing
Uh,
backstory with so much heart, and it's definitely
yeah.
it's the gateway for
It's,
everything else throughout the series.
it's really interesting because after not what he seems, you're left with like a million questions. Okay, if he's his brother, why was he in the portal? What happened? Who did this? Why did this happen? But no, the way they because then when Ford calls back Stan and they go like through they have the part in like the basement where they get sucked in and like all that. Also the previous part with Setsa McGucket, which that's another part of why he's my second favorite character. All that stuff's really interesting. You know, then
Yeah.
like they have all that where that because then when Ford falls into the portal, Stan's got nowhere to go. He's got to go back to being a scam artist. So he
No.
naturally like he doesn't want to fall into pretending to be Ford. But then he just kind of naturally gets into that role, and they do it really naturally. The way like the Mystery Shack slowly builds up over time, and yeah, my favorite thing about this, the way they like parallel it, because they like Stan and Ford, they parallel how they are in the past with how Dipper and Mabel are now, and how they're worried that might cause a rift between them, and how it's really interesting. And like they're worried the cycle might repeat itself. It's really interesting thematically because they don't entirely spell it out. Such a good episode, definitely the second best of the show. And also the end joke's really funny, where Seuss is calling up Wendy and like tries explaining
It
the whole
tries to
situation.
explain all of what happened, like the plot of the episode.
Yeah,
And it's also
it's
sad
really
seeing
funny.
Stan and Ford still like acting distant and mad at each other for what
Yeah,
happened.
he doesn't
It's so
even
sad.
apologize, which like you feel bad for Stan Lee, but also like it makes sense,
Yeah, it makes
considering
sense.
everything.
Yeah, I guess we should get
Hmm.
to the next episode.
Hmm. Yeah,
Next
we kind of
is
went in depth on that one, but it's really good. I
next
don't.
is Dungeons,
Hey,
Dungeons, and more
oh,
Dungeons.
this one's I don't know about you, but
I
this is
think it's
another one of my like this
yeah,
is
this
another
one's
one of my
great.
favorites. I really really like this
I
one.
really
First of all,
like
I like
I like
Duck Detective,
Duck Detective. Yeah,
who's
I was
great.
gonna say. I
Great.
really like the
I love that.
parody of it as a show. I think it's really
Yeah, they
funny.
do like a meta joke about how it's like it's like supposed to be the in universe Gravity Falls, where Grunkle stands like it's a very intelligent mystery and a lot of jokes that go over kids'
Kids'
heads.
heads.
It's like a meta joke about
I
Gravity
love
Falls
that.
itself.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
really
funny.
funny. Okay, and then this one is mainly I love all the bonding scenes between Ford and Dipper, how they both like geek out of the over this Dungeons and Dragons parody. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
really
nice to
it's
see
really
them
nice.
bond, and it definitely sets the
Yeah,
gateway for what's happening in the finale of the
yeah.
show. And
It's a
like,
really good
it's nice to see
payoff
them
too,
grow
like
close and relate to each other in a lot of
yeah,
ways. It's a nice
yeah, it's
bond.
really good payoff too, because like they spent this entire Dippers spent like 1.5 seasons hyping up how the owner of the journals, who is this guy, what's his deal, and now he finally sees who the owner of the journals is, and they get to have this sweet bond where they can like connect over this stuff. It's sweet, and then like the escalation of it. Weird Al, I don't know if he does. Weird Al plays the guy who comes out of the game, like the warlock guy. I don't
Yeah,
know if you
I
noticed that.
realized that after
Yeah.
like I was like, oh
After this
yeah,
viewing, I noticed that, it
it
was
was
great. I really like. Yeah,
yeah.
it's neat.
He does a good
And
job.
then the escalation of it is really fun. Really fun. The way they like bring it into like real life and how that
Yeah,
like
I like
they have to, like play like and then Grunkle Stan and Mabel slowly like have
yeah,
to
I
get into
like
the game because
Grunkle
they don't
Chan just
understand what's
Stan
going
just
on.
like cheating at the game. That was funny.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah,
Classic
no, it
Grunkle
makes
Stan.
sense.
Always doing cheating. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fantastic episode. One of my personal favorites. See, I think it's so cool that Ford isn't even in 25% of Gravity Falls in total, yet the mystery around him and the build up to him and what they do with him when they have him makes him one of the best characters and why he's like my favorite overall. I think that's really neat how they were able to do that. Uh love Ford, the goat.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have to say about
Yeah,
Dungeons and More
same.
Dungeons. We
I'd
can
say
move
the
on.
next one
The
is
stand, oh, yeah. The Stanchurian candidate this one's great too.
pretty
I
good.
find
Yeah,
it
I
really
like
fun.
this one. I think it's
Yeah,
pretty funny. Nice to
yeah,
see Gideon
vote.
again. Now in
Hold on,
jail.
Tuesday, November the 6th. But it's a great one. I love it's such a silly concept, Grunkle Stan of all people running for mayor. And they
Do you
have to
think
like
the woman
hypnotize.
in Gravity Falls wear too much makeup? I love that. This
Yeah.
one's funny. I like
Nah,
all of Grunkle Stan's attempt to be president, and I like how it doesn't even matter I mean, mayor, but I like how it doesn't matter in the end because of his criminal
mhm.
record. And I'm all like, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That's funny.
Oh no, that makes because it's funny. They literally have to mind control him to make sure he's like can
He's all,
actually like
yeah.
to make sure he actually doesn't say anything horribly offensive that would like misconstrue
Yeah,
anything.
like say
It's a great.
say like a racial slur or something like that. Get
He
canceled.
would.
Something tells me he would. I don't know.
Uncle
That
Stan
seems like
would
a
say the N
Grunkle.
word.
That would seem like something Grunkle Stan would do.
Nah, no, he would. Also, the conclusion's really funny, where like even after everyone approves of him, he doesn't. He didn't fill out the proper paperwork, so he didn't get it. Like get it. Like,
Yeah, that's funny
yeah.
as well. Yeah, due to
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, it also has Tad Strange. Was great.
Everyone in this town is a tad strange.
Except for ironically enough, Tad Strange. He's a great character.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love when
Um.
they try bringing Seuss into the race after too,
Yeah, that
because
was
like
funny.
he's
And the
Grunkle
stuff
Stan
with
anymore.
Gideon was also nice, even though it doesn't like
Yeah,
change stuff majorly, but it still works well.
yeah,
I'd say it's pretty funny.
yeah.
Good
Great
episode,
episode.
not amazing, but still pretty solid.
Not quite as high as season two's other highs, but still a really good one.
Yeah, nice
Uh,
one. Next
yeah.
is the last
I thought
maple
there's
corn, which I really
Oh, this is
love.
what I really like too, actually.
Yep,
So I've heard some people complain that the plots don't really mesh that well,
a
and
little ish, a
I
little
kind of
kind
can.
of.
The
I
thing is,
understand it. One
the thing
is
with me
darker
is
than the
I think
other.
both. The thing with me though is I really like both plots, so I'm
Oh
fine
yeah,
with
they're
it.
fantastic. The Mabel plot is great with them trying to with Mabel trying to prove himself to this annoying unicorn, and then they
Yeah,
try to get
well,
fairy dust to knock her
yeah.
out.
Oh, I
I
love the
loved it.
reveal that the unicorn wasn't actually doing anything. She was just being pretentious
It
about
was
it.
just trolling them. It's such a funny twist. I love it. Yeah, it's great. And then there's the plot with Ford and Dipper about Bill, which is
Oh yeah.
so like well
Oh
done and so like
yeah.
tense. And I love this.
I love the whole like the concept of it's great. The way they like can literally go into each other's minds and like read each other's thoughts, and then like it's really eerie for that little bit where you think Ford might be possessed by Bill, but you don't know, so you're like on edge. And I
A
love that bit a lot. That
lot
part's
of
really great.
great
Yeah.
tension there. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
done just so good, and I
Yeah.
really think it like establishes Bill as a threat well with Bill like
Mhm.
manipulating Ford and Ford trying to
Yeah.
withhold this information so it doesn't happen again. And it's interesting with them
Oh
having to
yeah,
do
yeah, it's
this.
great.
And I like Maple's little arc about being nice, and I
Oh yeah.
like the fairy
Oh
dust
no, it's
joke,
really
like I
funny
said.
too. Oh, it's like
It's
that's such a
drug
blatant metaphor. I don't know how
for
the
drugs.
drug
Yeah, it's so funny.
is great.
This one's great. I love this one. It's
Yeah,
just
no, I
the
like
two
this one.
plots are just
But
really great in their own way. The Mabel plot is
yeah,
hilarious and well done,
yeah, they
and
work in
the
different ways
other
because
plot is really good.
it never gets too nonsensical or too serious because they
Yeah,
both balance each
exactly.
other out into the middle. It's great,
Great
great little
episode right
episode.
here. I don't know if I have anything else to say. Yeah, I guess.
Unfortunately, right after is the shit episode.
It's
It's
okay.
not over.
Shit is an
It's not over.
understatement.
It's
It's
not
not.
overly shit. However,
It's
I
the
do think this
worst.
episode
Yeah.
sucks, and there are a couple reasons for this.
I guess. I
First
don't
of
know.
all, this had I okay. I never used the word filler argument, and I won't in this case because this episode doesn't suck because it's filler. I will, but I what I will say though, it has a very badly timed
Yeah,
placement.
it
Like I don't
doesn't
know
make
why it's
sense. I
here.
don't know. It feels like it was a
Or,
holdback from I don't know, season one. Like Ford doesn't even appear in this one, so like it might
it's
as well
really
just been the
weird. Like I
season one
said, Ford's
episode.
my favorite, and it feels like it's so weird because like I said, season two does a really good job at building like tension, like all even like an episode like the Gulf War, even ones that are less plot focused, they still feel higher stakes than something like a season one episode does. But like now we're just like the stakes are down to zero, and like it's just such a bad time. None of the stuff with Bill or Ford or anything are mentioned because
That's
no,
so
we can't talk about
strange.
that. We gotta go retcon into the bunker by having a Dipper Wendy development
Yeah,
reversed. Like,
and
okay,
I want to talk about that. The way they executed here is kind of stupid. With
makes me
like,
kind of mad, honestly. Like, cause Into the Bunker has such a nice, sweet resolution, but they're like, oh, Dipper never learned. It kind of just undermines what that episode's going for. So it's like, I am, I'm a little disappointed by that
yeah,
on that
it's like
front.
weird. So
But
they go on this road trip, which doesn't make as much sense based off of like
I don't like
it's
why
just a
now.
weird thing to do at this
Plus,
point
it's
in the
even weird.
series.
It's so weird, especially considering after the last one they specify how big the stakes of Bill Cipher are. But then they're like, no, let's go on a road trip.
Fuck
Sure,
it.
Dipper.
Yeah,
Come on.
let's
I
go.
haven't researched this show that much, but I feel like there must have been some sort of ordering issue or something that came into play here
But
because it
even
doesn't
if this
feel
was a
like
season one episode, it still
so
would
even
have
if it was
been.
a season one episode, I still think it sucks because the general plot is really lame.
Yeah,
Like,
so
oh
they go
boy,
on a road trip.
Dipper's learning how to pick up
For some
chicks. Okay.
reason, yeah, she
That's
just,
good.
yeah, he just flirts with a bunch of girls, and they like for
Yeah.
some reason it's so weird, and he like gets their
And
numbers,
then
and
yeah.
then
And
coincidentally they
then
all show up at this one place near
oh,
the
that
end. It's
part's
like
so bad.
so
Like, why
stupid.
are they all there at
I
that
don't
one
know. It's
specific time?
contrived and
It's
dumb. It's like
stupid. For some reason,
why was he even
Candy,
flirting with
yeah,
so many
I don't.
girls? That's
Well,
kind of
no,
dumb.
because he was trying to fill the void of Wendy or some stupid shit like that.
What
Even though
was
that
the
doesn't
point?
make
Just flirt
any
with
sense.
one girl, and then the Candy
Also,
thing
they
where
like,
Candy has a crush on Dipper. It's like what?
yeah,
What's the
it
point? It's such
doesn't
a weird thing to
really
put near the
weird.
end.
And then it's such a dumb like resolution
I
to I
don't
don't
know.
the only thing I kind of like about this one is there's one joke I find really funny. I like Seuss being stuck in the corn maze. That part's really funny.
Mhm.
And also I kind of like excuse me, I kind of like Dipper and Grunklestand like bonding, even if the premise of
Sort
it
of,
is really
yeah.
stupid.
I don't
But yeah, I
know.
don't
This
know.
one
It's just
isn't.
such a
If this is
it's
the
such a lame one.
worst episode, we could be doing far worse.
Or
But at
we
the
could be
same
doing a lot
time,
worse.
it's
Like
just
as it stands, it's like a high 4 out of 10. So it's not
I
even
give it
like
like a
bad.
five. I don't know, like a
Yeah,
low five.
I just really do not like the plot and how it undermines things.
Same.
And
I
like
don't know.
everyone
It's
knows,
not.
it's the
There isn't
Bateman stuff.
anything like honestly. There's a lot of stupid stuff. There's nothing like actively terrible here for
It's
me
not
to hate
actively
it.
terrible. I just find it annoying.
Yeah,
So
just
that's
such a
why I have
step
it.
down from everything, especially
Yeah,
since we had
especially
such a good
considering at this point,
patch.
yeah, because at this point, season two is firing on all cylinders. Like, bam,
Yeah,
banger,
and then we
banger, 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 the love god, banger, 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 roadside attraction. It's like,
banger,
yeah, it's so
banger, but
weird.
yeah, whatever.
Get it.
Let's get to the good stuff now. The goat, I guess, if you will. We're getting to the end
These are
of
the
the
last four
series.
episodes,
Yeah.
which are kind of three of them are one of them's a three-parter, so of course they're
Yeah.
associated with
Let's
each
start
other.
off
But
with
so
Dipper and Mabel versus the future, which
now
is
I think this one
amazing
is
in my
really
opinion.
good. I love this one.
I agree. I love it. I
Yeah, this
love
one is a
it's
top
just
10 fairly
so
scratchy.
sad to see Dipper like succeed at everything he wants. He's now gonna work for Ford, which is something on one hand like, oh, okay, good for them, especially since you buy
Yeah,
their relationship now, especially since all
yeah.
that they've done together. But then you see Mabel get a taste of like the harsh reality, and like you start to feel bad for her. And but then again, you don't hate Dipper because you completely
Well,
understand
no,
all
'cause
that's
I think both of
happening.
their perspectives make sense. Both of them just have their respective issues. Like I kind of mentioned at the beginning, Dipper's problem is that he wants to grow up too fast, and Mabel's problem is she wants nothing to change. The thing is right.
Exactly.
Here's the
It's a
thing. The
great
thing that the
dynamic here.
episode, yeah, the episode never outright states this, but I think the implication, right, is Dipper can have this cake and eat it too if he wants to. He could have a normal high school education, and then after that he could go back and go adventuring with Ford. Technically, he
Exactly.
still could be Ford's apprentice, but because Dipper is so focused on getting that right now, he doesn't think of that option, which is why he wants to do that immediately
Hmm.
and give up his entire teenage years. And Mabel, her problem that she sees it the opposite way. She's like, no, 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 you can't do any of that. I want things to stay this exact way because she's afraid of change. And you don't hate her because that's a reasonable fear, but also it's like, okay, you can't just do that, Mabel. That's not reasonable. Also, the animation in this one I noticed is really good. Like when the big fight part with Dipper and Ford and
The
the
lighting, and then the
yeah
ending when
Wait.
Tristan Roiland manipulates
Ah,
Mabel. Yeah, it's
typical,
classic
typical,
Justin Roiland.
typical Justin Roiland manipulating a younger person. Am I right?
Anyways, yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
but it's a great
amazing.
hook too.
Yeah, and
And
then
then
Bill is
Weird again.
released, everything's gone shit,
Yeah.
and he now rules the world. And I can't wait to see
Yeah.
this delightful oddball and what he does
Yeah.
next, and Weird
Now we're
Again
at
Part 1.
these are the now
The
we're at
last three
the end,
episodes,
yeah, the
yes.
end of Evangelion of Gravity Falls, if you
Yeah,
will.
sure.
This is so let's start. A Weird Beginning one, I think, is a really good way to establish everything because for everything's fucked up now. Everything's just changed. First of all, okay, I love the visuals of everything now that it's all like
Yeah,
the
all
Weird
the
Beginning.
designs of
They,
all of Bill's
they even
new.
changed the intro too. Uh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
my
that's
favorite of
sick.
Bill's friends is Teeth. Of
The
Teeth.
teeth is great. Yes, the eight ball
Yeah.
guy. The yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
like the
So I
intro
noticed.
parody a lot.
Yeah. I also, fun fact, if you reverse, because every like I mentioned earlier, if
Yeah,
you
I know.
reverse,
In this one, if you reverse the sound in the intro,
he
it's
says,
Bill
"I'm
calling.
watching you, nerds."
That's a
Yeah,
great detail. I really
I
like
find that
that.
really funny because they still kept it an Easter egg, even though
Yeah,
it's
that
like
was
that.
funny.
It's a fun episode. I like how they establish everything. Everyone's like, everything's got their shit because of the apocalypse. Gideon's got his own little thing. Dipper's on his own because Mabel's gone and Grunkle stands off on his little area. It's nice. It's nice, like the way they like establish everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
The part where they go for all the different like styles when Dipper and Wendy go for the fuck, I forget what it is, like the
Yeah,
portal thing
like the
and
live action thing. That was
the live
cool. All
action bit.
that.
Oh, I love that part's great.
Yeah, that was funny, and I like the stuff with Seuss, just being the mechanic of the apocalypse and stuff.
Oh yeah.
All of
Classic
that is
suit.
cool. The
Great.
stuff with Gideon, Gideon was also nice with him getting a
Mhm.
redemption. I like the way they resolved
Yeah.
that conflict with him. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just a
that's great.
fun way of showing the new world that Bill has created, and now the stakes are that we need to save Ford because he's the only one who knows how to stop him. So
Yeah.
interested. They're definitely hooked
No,
now because of
I hooks
this.
you very well. Which, by the way, I think the only gap, actually, this one doesn't have as big gaps as not what he seems in Tale of Two Stand gap, but still, there's like, I think it was like a month between part 1 and 2, and like 3 months between part 2 and 3. So, yikes. I would not have wanted to have been there. But yeah, Weird Mageddon 2. I think some people don't like this one as much. I've heard like criticism
Yeah,
for
I've
this.
heard some stuff with
Mainly for
Mabel.
people who don't like Mabel. They think she's overly selfish in this one.
Like,
I think people kind of twist words a little. Well, I don't want to say entirely. I think they exaggerated a little bit because not like
yeah,
Mabel intended for this to happen. It's just
exactly. I think you could
kind of a
sympathize with
byproduct of
her
what
here.
did
Not to
happen.
mention, I like her goofy fantasy world. I know I hear people saying that they
Except for Dippy
wanted.
Fresh. Fuck him.
You don't
I
like
hate
Dippy
him. Dippy
Fresh?
Fresh. Oh, Dippy Fresh sucks. It's by design. He's intentionally annoying, but I want to punch him. I want.
I like
I
how
was with Dipper in that part.
with
He
hating
sucked.
him. I thought that was a funny
That
joke
part's
though.
so.
That's
Oh
funny
no, it's
though.
so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Apparently there was like, I'm not even joking. There was like a deleted scene where like Dipper like beats the shit out of him and like
Oh
kills him.
man,
I'm
he
not even
killed
joking.
him.
There's like
Oh
stories.
wow.
Yeah, no, there's storyboards of that they cut out, but
Yeah.
it's like a real thing they're gonna put in.
Yeah.
I find that funny, but I guess they never
Yeah, I
went
like the
for it.
design of her
Yeah.
fantasy land. I heard some people wish that like Bill created her own distorted reality for her, but I think this works well.
No,
With her
it's an interesting
fantasy.
contrast to all the apocalypse stuff. You see like
Yeah,
this like
it's funny.
overly cutesy like dream world where she's like, nah,
Yeah,
we're not gonna.
and I think the
Yeah.
character and an emotional resolution between Dipper and Mabel is very strong here. And just the scene where they go back to their older memories when they were younger is very powerful and is a great way to bring everything full circle. And it's like all about growing up in terms of how people interpret it. And it's like the Dipper and Mabel represent two kinds of people: the ones who
Yeah,
can't wait
exactly.
to grow up, and the people who want to stay the age they are. Like
Yeah,
you
no, it's
stated,
great.
that's
It's
what I
really
really
great,
like
like
about this
concept.
show in terms of the
Yeah, I
sides.
love the. Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't know. Some of the Mabel stuff I'm kind of iffy on, but I do really like the conclusion they come to in this one, where Dipper gives her like speech because like the court or wherever manipulates the situation to be like, oh, Mabel had all these bad memories that they like cherry picked, but then they reveal like how Dipper and Mabel both made themselves like they cheered each other up after that, how they were like they were always there for each other, and how that makes Dipper come through the revelation that they do kind of need each other in the high school setting, and then it's nice. And she get and then they lead into part 3 well of that. I think it's a nice
Yeah.
little end to it,
Mhm.
personally.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know if I have too much else to say, but this is just like a great way.
yeah, I mean, just the visuals of it all, I think, are really great.
Yeah, the fantasy land is great.
Yeah.
Should we get to the finale?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Now,
Next,
gonna get into it really
Armageddon
quickly.
3 is amazing.
Yeah, Weird
obviously.
Mageddon 3 is it's the third best episode of Gravity Falls. Not quite as
There's
good as
one
the 2.
problem I kind of have, but it doesn't really hold me
We'll
back
get into that when we
from
talk about
that much. But it's
the
like a
end.
little thing that like
Yeah.
kind of pisses me off because it's like this
It
was a little bit.
It's it kind of does, and it also kind of doesn't. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it's weird.
Also the hardest thing is better, but that's
You know, I think God, don't make me choose. Oh, right. I don't know. I think like the conclusion of Amphibia might be better, but this one, I don't know. It's hard. It's the hardest thing to choose which one's better.
That's good. That's good.
It is. I don't know. They're both fantastic.
I'm biased towards Amphibia, so of course I'm going to prefer that. But that's not even like making that sound like an insult. But this is like a fantastic episode.
It basically culminates everything, such as how they turned the Mystery Shack into this giant war machine. Yeah. We see all the creatures and characters all coming together, and it's everyone.
I think quite literally they have almost every like supernatural thing that they've like had from previous episodes. Kind of like the gnomes, the Minotaur. Everyone's here.
Yeah.
Great.
I forgot to mention something. 2 things I forgot to mention. One thing, I know it's weird that I sometimes go back to these random parts, but I just want to mention
if you have stuff to mention, it's better to say it and then record and then forget it after. So
I would like to say, one thing I forgot about in terms of foreshadowing in this series, now that we're at the finale, is I noticed that back in the first episode of this season, we see Stan wearing a 6-finger glove, which is like the same amount of fingers Stanford has.
Oh, that's true. Oh my god.
Yeah, I rewatched that episode and I was like, that's so cool. Wow. I can't believe they did that. Yeah, that's great. Also, I also like noticed that while researching, they cut out like a villain song for Bill. That's actually a pretty good song, if I'm being honest.
Oh, okay. I do like what we get though. He does his cover of
We'll Meet Again. Yeah, I like I love the interactions between Bill and Stan and Ford in this.
Yeah, no, it's great because like they established that Bill and Ford have this like long history with each other. You don't see a lot of it, but you like even feel.
Yeah, Bill is intimidating. Right? He's funny. He's creative. He's like almost everything you could want in an agonist. He's a great villain in every way. And it all culminates in this one. He's more dangerous and unhinged than he's ever been. And it's all just done so well. They do the Cipher wheel thing.
Oh yeah, the part's so cool, the payoff. They're like, oh, this guy's dead. This guy's there.
And then the arguments between Ford and Stanley is just very strong, and you could definitely like believe it in a lot of ways. And like the runtime's extended runtime's definitely earned here because it's earned because you need to conclude all these plot beats, and it's done really well here.
It's great. It's like I don't know, they conclude everything and like everything like is just naturally done there. It's like everything feels like that's a good payoff to that. They do everything I think almost in the best way they could have. Everyone gets a nice little like end beat. And there's a lot of good stuff in this one. I love like the visuals when Bill's chasing down Dipper and Mabel, and then eventually the conclusion where the part where they Ford and Stan switch clothes, so Grunkle Stan like sacrifices himself for that. I like that. That's a really nice payoff considering how much of like it kind of makes sense too because of like his con artist shit. So of course he's gonna con Bill Cipher out of everyone, and that's like that's the conclusion we come to. I think you agree with me. I think I'm a little iffy on how the mind erase thing works. How he
Yeah,
like
because like
all his
on one
memories back.
hand, I know there's like an implication in the tie-in book or whatever, something that
But
that
yeah,
the
apparently the journal
effects can
confirms
way
that, but I
wear
can't like
off or something.
I can't use the
But like at the
yeah I
same
can't use
time, it's
yeah
like a
I can't use
weird
the journal as the
cop
excuse because
out.
that came out after.
Yeah, it's a bit
So
of a cop out
yeah.
in areas. I'm like, I don't know. I know
Mhm.
it took like a couple days to fully like bring his
Yeah,
memory
but they don't
back.
tell you that
Yeah,
in
it
the
should have done
episode.
that. I don't know. It's not a big deal. I guess it leads to a lot of
I think they
nice
could have like
moments.
further established that before
Yeah,
just
and it
having
also
that.
leads to that just amazing ending when the twins say goodbye to everyone in Gravity Falls, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
it's so
it's such a
good.
wholesome ending that
There's such
matches
nice
the
payoffs
message
there.
really well.
Like my favorite is so they bring back the Stan Award. They get to go on their little
Yes,
adventures
yeah,
together.
I
It's
love the
great.
stuff with Ford and Stanley now being able to go on their own journey
Yeah,
and
it's
go
nice.
become treasure hunters like they were when they were younger. It's
Oh yeah, no,
great.
I love that.
I
And
love
then
this.
Stu's running the mystery shack now
Oh,
too.
I
That's
love that.
done in
Everything is just done in
it's
like
great.
such a great
Oh nice.
conclusion. It's incredibly wholesome. Old Man
Yeah.
McNugget even brought bought a mansion. That was great.
Yeah. Oh, I love that part too. He has like a nice resolution with Ford too. It's
Yeah,
like,
that was
oh,
great.
made up.
All the
The two best
payoffs,
characters
it's
coming
all
back.
great. It's the
Great.
perfect finale for the show. Despite
Yeah.
that one small problem that
Yeah.
it only
You know what?
pisses me
I could
off
ignore that.
because
I
yeah,
don't.
I could ignore that, but I feel like if
No,
it would be
it kind of annoys me because I feel like they had an easy fix that they didn't take.
yeah,
That's
it
my
could have.
like,
It was so close. They could have fixed that, and it would have been like, yeah. But it's still the highs are so high that it basically isn't a huge issue for me. So
yeah.
yeah, um, yeah, that's it. I mean, pretty much everything has been said about this show, and it was nice to break everything down fully. I know
Yeah.
our Owl House Amphibia things were longer, but those shows were just longer. I think
Yeah,
that's
those are
why.
longer shows.
So
I had fun. This was a good. Hold on,
yeah,
we done with we get in three. I had like,
do you have anything else to
I don't.
say?
My only last little note. Actually, I have two technically three things. One, just the last scene. I love that. Like, the goodbyes are really nice, and
The
then they do
music,
the
the
the music's
animation, it's
great,
all
and then
great.
I love the where Wendy and Dipper swap hats to remember each other by. That's a
Oh,
good like.
that was a
Like
nice little moment.
that's a nice way to and then the card when they get she gives her the card that says see you next
Oh,
summer and
that's
then
just so wholesome.
oh, it's
God,
nice it's nice
I
and
love this
sweet.
show. Who
And then
doesn't?
same and then Dipper's end speech where he talks about Gravity Falls in general
It's a
it's a nice
perfect,
little way to end everything
yeah.
and then you have the credits
I mean, it's
and
no
then
Optimus speech, but it's a pretty good speech, you know.
I mean, okay. Imagine the ending, but instead of the song, it's the Linkin Park music. Like,
Yes,
you
yes,
God damn it, you
amazing,
made me
amazing.
laugh. But oh yeah, but no. And then the one thing I do want to mention is after the credits end, there's that like live action Bill Cipher statue, and there was like a real life Cipher hunt. I don't
Oh
know much
yeah, I
about
forgot
that.
to. Yeah, I was about to mention that.
And then,
There's
yeah,
this really good video by Blame It on George about
yeah,
going into these little details and like all this stuff with the cipher hunt with this worldwide treasure hunt that was done by Alex Hirsch, and it's so cool.
yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it was
I
so cool
highly
how they like
recommend this video. I'm gonna put it in
organized
the description because
all
it
that.
like there's a lot of cool
So
obstacles, a lot of effort put into it. Even like the
yeah,
after credit scene here shows this cipher statue, and it's just such a great way to
yeah,
conclude and pay tribute to the fans of this iconic show. So yeah,
yeah,
I highly
yeah. It was
recommend
great.
checking that video out if you want some more details, since it was
Yeah.
generally really cool how they were able to do something like this, and I highly recommend checking it
Oh
out.
yeah, no, I think that's really cool. Like Alex Hirsch's such a
Yeah, you can
Chad.
tell he put a lot
Actually,
of effort
I
and
remember. 'Cause
passion
I think
into
like
the show.
he had to I forgot the specifics of that video, but I know they like figured something out too early or something, so we had to like
Yeah, there
redo
was like
some
this
of the
really
hints
long
and stuff and
puzzle
how to
piece and stuff like that.
yeah. And then
Interesting.
it was so cool. I'm
Yeah.
glad that that's such a like cool thing for like him to do. Like really, he put in like an actual worldwide history where people literally traveled the world to find Bill Cipher. That's so cool that he did
So
that.
sick. Yeah. A lot of
Yeah,
interesting stuff in that video. I highly recommend
yeah.
checking it out. So that's Gravity
Just the last thing.
Falls. What an amazing
Uh,
show. In terms
oh
of, should
man,
we get to our season 2 as a rating? Is
season
a
two is a
9.
high 9 for me. I love practic. There are like two I don't like, but other than that, I think I love
Yeah, but
every
even then,
episode.
those episodes are like
Uh,
not like
yeah,
terrible. So like,
but not
it's
even
not.
terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
not
just
as good
like
as
pale in
Amphibious season
comparison to
two.
like everything
You know,
else. So
right?
yeah,
A fantastic,
yeah,
fantastic
and
season.
I'll
Yeah,
probably give the show itself a 9 on general.
I would as
Amazing
well
show.
actually. I
Highly
give it a
recommend it.
joke 5 out of 10 on Letterboxd, but that's because of fucking Jello
You mean
Apocalypse.
serialized?
Serialized. Ah, damn it, I mixed them up. But,
It's fine.
as overall 9 out of 10 show, really,
Yeah,
really great. The best one, objectively, even though it's not my favorite, fantastic
fair.
show.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah. If you haven't
I
checked
hope
this
you.
show
Oh wait,
out,
hold. Actually,
uh,
I have just one more note. This is a really quick thing. I just want to mention it.
all right.
Um, this show got a, and I got a, it's one of the only Disney shows to have a full giant series box set on DVD, which I think is really cool. It's out of print now, which sucks. But my note is, Disney, please give Amphibia and slash or Owl House and slash or DuckTales the other shows deserve box sets too, damn it. I would
I
sell
don't
my
know about
kidney
the
for an
Owl House
Amphibia
for
Blu-ray.
obvious
Owl House
reasons.
won't get one because Disney
Hates
hates
the
the
Owl
Owl House.
House,
Doesn't like
yeah.
anyone. But I would like I would sell my kidney for an Amphibia Blu-ray. I hope
Jesus.
it
Okay.
happens. See?
Anyways,
I'm never gonna say that anywhere else, so I might as well put it in now.
fair.
But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this series. I think it was
Yeah.
really
Thank you
fun
for
doing a
watching.
retrospective on these 3 shows. I had a ball doing this. A
Yeah, it
great
was
time.
fun. It was my favorite of the 3. And yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
watching another episode of
yeah,
Candy Cast, and we'll see you
yeah,
next time. Bye.
yeah.
See you guys.
Bye bye. Schmabulok.